The views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily reflect the views of the United States Air Force or the Department of Defense. Thanks for listening.
Questions.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Rick and Rob Show. This is Rob.
And this is Rick.
And, you know, we brought some special guests on here for Women's History Month.
It's true. Even though this episode is airing after Women's History Month, we thought it'd still be good to bring them on.
So, can you do a favor and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name is Asia. I'm from Texas. African woman. I'm in the Air Force. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm Ada from Louisiana.
Okay.
I'm Jasmine from Alabama. I'm Rob's wife.
Rob's wife. Rob's wife.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day to be on the show. We really appreciate that.
Of course.
To get your insights and just how you perceive things. Questions we have for you. Questions you have for us. We're excited to get into it.
Yeah, I guess I'll start off by just asking, just open form here. Share a time where your work has given you a rewardable experience.
That's hard.
I think for me, like being in the military, coming in, I was raised in a military background family as well.
Okay.
So coming in and like dealing with people who are not used to moving around or change or whatever, like it was just really rewarding when like this girl to this day is like still my best friend, but she's only like 2 years younger than me, and like just helping her through womanhood, helping her through challenges is like being a woman or being a Black woman in the Air Force, being away from family and home, and like even her dating life, her marriage, like it's really rewarding because you didn't think that something so impactful can come from just work or so personal. Like we have a really close relationship, so just making that impact on like younger people without even like realizing it or being friends with people, like that's probably when it's most rewarding for me.
That's pretty awesome. And I definitely agree with that because built plenty of relationships throughout my time in the military, and definitely feel like I've contributed to a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
I think for me, so being security forces, like it's already a male predominant force in general.
Oh, 100%.
So just being in like, I guess people would say like the tactical aspect of it, because obviously like the cop thing, but there's just less women in that specific job than any other, I feel like. So working alongside the other women that, you know, do the same job as me, I found that it has been a rewarding aspect when you find those individuals where you've done PCS or moved on from that job or that base, and they reach out to you and they're like, hey, like I did this, and they're like sharing all the things that are coming in their career or like their life, and they thank you for it. So overall, I think that that's something that I've kind of been able to highlight as a reward, just working alongside those women.
That's awesome. Being able to build like a community.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely needed too.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like somebody I know just became a ranger, like a woman. I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool.
Dang,
You know?
paving
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, maybe I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. But I think the most rewarding is just living overseas and like seeing different cultures. Because I'm from a small town, and there's no way I'd be like going to all these places if I didn't join the military. So it's nice.
That is.
I can relate to that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You take that for granted. That is
Yeah,
rewarding.
definitely a rewardable part. Definitely look forward to traveling, getting out. So I feel you on that.
Mm.
Like we can take the weekend and go to Italy.
Exactly.
Like we can go like anywhere.
You can never
Germany.
do that in the States.
You know, it's crazy.
You can see a lot of states, just ain't much there.
Yeah. Only 50 of them.
Yeah. I mean, there's like 15 that are pretty much all the same. It's all one big.
The planes.
The planes. Welcome to Kansas, Arkansas. Just all the
Yeah.
I still think it's crazy how like, what were you saying? Like Texas is bigger than
All of Europe.
Than all of Europe.
You can fit
All of
You
Europe?
can fit all of Europe inside of Texas.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
That's
Actually, you could fit
I thought it was the
you
UK.
can fit the whole population of the world into the state of Texas.
Oh, that's my state.
That's
What can I
crazy.
say?
Wow.
That's how big Texas is. Like,
I
people
never knew
underestimate-
that.
Yeah, people underestimate how big Texas is. When people underestimate how big the United States is,
Yeah.
continuously.
Yeah.
Because like on the
Yeah.
globe, it don't be look like a little
Exactly.
a hand.
Mhm.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's huge. Yeah, it's very big, and I feel like that's where a lot of people who live outside the United States get these like misconceptions of the United States and being like, why don't you guys got free healthcare? Well, it would bankrupt us. That's why.
Yeah,
The country is way too big to be able to try and monitor that federally.
Yeah.
So just stuff like that. But yeah, the United States is huge.
Yeah.
Let's move on to another question now. How about this? What advice would you give to younger women?
In general, or like military, or
in
like
general?
You go first, Jazz, this time.
Stay true to yourself.
Find a
Fuck
white guy.
other people's opinions. What'd you say?
Find a white
I
guy.
didn't make it to that yet. I didn't make it to that. Yeah.
Yeah, why is
I
that
was
so
saying,
low
like,
on the steps?
No, I
Okay.
was getting there.
Yeah, what was you saying? You got to give the why behind it too.
The why behind it?
Yeah, why would you tell them that? It has to be a reason.
Pasta and lobster. Y'all know that song,
Mhm.
right? You know,
I
right?
have no idea.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Did you do it with him yet? Did you do the
No, I never
girl?
did it. Mm-mm. No.
When y'all do, I'll be your cameraman. Okay,
Okay.
please do it.
But
A song, I'll show you later.
Okay, thanks.
We'll collaborate.
Sounds good.
But no, just like stand by what you believe in. It doesn't matter what other people think. You know, just
Yeah.
be true to yourself.
I like
And
that.
if you're gonna do something, just be good at it, no matter what it is.
I like
Nailed
that. Okay.
Nice.
Period.
Uh-huh.
What you got, Ada?
So I actually just had a chief. She sat down with some of the females in my unit and kind of like gave her spiel. And there were bits and pieces of what she said that I kind of like resonated with. So I now think that that's something that I'm going to start using. But she was basically talking about the women that she has now viewed as like those women in her life, the individuals that she turns to for just about anything, the one that she looks up to, that board of directors that she follows. So she basically was just talking about how they like inspire her and allow her like the opportunity to stand on her own and do all these things by herself and give her that confidence. But there was this like one piece that she said that I was like, that's it. But she was just talking about how she said these individuals may not be in everybody's history book, but they can be written into my story.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
oh, that feels like so powerful. But
like that,
I
yeah.
feel like taking that and like giving it to other women, basically finding those women or finding those people and writing them into your story and just appreciating it for what it is.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I like that.
That
That's
was
a
a good answer.
answer. Yeah.
All thanks
I
to the
like it
chief.
too.
Yeah. I think for me, I'll tell them a lot of things, younger women. But I think the most important thing is like learn how to make yourself happy. Learn like what you like, what pleases you. Because we talk about women's history, like the evolution of women. Like a lot of things we liked or did wasn't what we liked. It was for our families or what our people told us to do, what we were supposed to believe in. So like now you have the power to make yourself happy without relying on someone else to like make you happy. Like relying on a man, a pet, a kid, all these codependency things. So or your friends. So I would definitely tell them that. Learn what makes you happy and be a professional at it and making yourself happy. So when you do find your husband or your kids, that like you're an addition to their life, not like a liability. And then secondly, I would definitely say nurture your sisterhood, the women in your life, because that's who's going to be there for your, like you said, your board of directors, like those sound decisions. Like have a diverse set of women around you of different race, age, gender, not sexualities. I mean, if you want to do that, cool, but like just have a diverse group of women around you to help you through those transitional times, because sisterhood is so important. There's only so much our family or our significant others can do, and we really need that in times of pregnancy, marriage, going through transitional phases, TDYs, deployments, women issues, health issues. Like, don't underestimate the power of sisterhood. So that's probably what I would tell a young woman. Invest in your happiness and your sisterhood.
Build that community. I like that. When I was in New Mexico with my wife, I did a year in Korea, and she was there without me, with 3 boys to raise on her own. But she had such a solid community there. Like, our house was attached to our neighbor's house, and she was good friends with them. And then the house next to them as well, and the house next to them. It was like the whole street, all the wives she was really good friends with, and like you're saying, it was a diverse background of individuals, and I don't think she would have been as successful during that year without me as she was. So
I think she had a village.
Yeah.
I love that for
shout
y'all.
out Alicia, Sharon, and really Michaela.
Shout out.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I
We love you
that.
guys. You don't even know.
Yeah.
What advice would you guys give as men, like to your younger daughter, like, or your little sister, like?
Stay away from us fast ass men.
Okay.
No, be yourself. Be true to what you want and what you.
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah,
We're
husband
on
like
the same
wife.
thing.
Hey, that's why y'all work. That's why y'all work well together.
No, and don't be afraid to be aggressive. I feel like a lot of women grow up with the belief that they shouldn't be that way, but no. If you don't like something, fucking say it. Tell everybody how you feel.
Yeah.
You know, I promise you, in the long run, you'll be a lot better off than trying to save face, because sometimes saving face only makes things worse. I see personally a lot of women who bite their tongue at times when they shouldn't bite their tongue. And I will back any woman who stands up for what they believe in. Even
Okay.
even if it's a little out there.
Especially in the military, though, because when women speak up, everybody says we're being a bitch.
Yeah.
But, you know, when the men speak up, it's, you know.
He's being a leader.
Yeah,
He's being a
exactly.
leader.
You
Yeah.
know?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, speak up, but be safe.
Tactfully.
You know,
Be
'cause-
tactful,
Yeah.
And even men have to.
Yeah, men are terrible at being
I don't
tactical.
know.
Yeah.
I've had more than enough people. I'm like, man, you had such a good point, but you ruined it with your delivery.
Execution, yeah.
I think it's just emotions that get involved with it. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, it's just natural as humans to, incorporate those emotions and feelings, or maybe
Mhm.
those personal biases whenever you're going into a certain situation. So you have to kind of like separate that from like the point that you're actually trying to make. And I feel like that's a lot harder for women, because women are typically the more emotional individuals.
True.
So when we step up or we say things, sometimes we tend to have those emotions bleed in. So then that's where you get the comments of, oh, she's being a bitch, or this, that, and a third.
Mhm.
True. No, I agree, because I've definitely had to mentor females I work with and be like, you got to remember, you got to pull the emotions out of this. If you're upset, you can't go in there and explain this upset.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
be able to walk away and then come back and explain it to a point where all people from all audiences can understand what you're coming at. Because if
Yeah.
not, they're just going to look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
Especially if you really need something to get done or fixed. They're going to be like, I don't understand what you're even coming at me with for. You know, and my thing is, especially in certain positions I work with, like I tell a lot of females, like when people are when you're talking, don't be sitting down, like stand up. Like
Definitely.
you have to show, especially in a male dominated career field, show authority. And if you don't, a lot of men aren't going to listen, especially younger men. You know, they haven't developed the characteristics to work in an environment that's diverse. So a lot of them will be like, I don't care what you're telling me right now.
Yeah.
So you have to stand up. You have to come off with that leadership and lack of emotional feeling towards a lot of your decisions. And I know it's hard, because even for men it's hard to do that, where you're like, man, I just want to hit you with a brick. Like what is wrong with you? But you have to be able to explain things logically to people who just may not be that logical.
Yeah.
I think when you talked about the younger male audience really not perceiving how a woman is coming across, just I think a lot of that has to do with the maturity of the male as well.
100%.
I feel like as a female, you may mature faster, and the male
Yeah.
he's just there to have a good time. He wants to hang out with his friends, do hood rat shit,
Yeah.
and he doesn't grow into that maturity until later in
Yes.
life, and it takes a lot more for him to finally understand that the world's not all about him.
Yeah, that's hard for a lot of young men to realize that, like, hey man, you're a little low on the totem pole sometimes, especially if you don't do the things right to better yourself.
Yeah.
You're just quick to get passed by your peers.
I was actually thinking kind of the opposite. I feel like in a professional environment, it's usually the older men that are less respectful or take women less serious, because they already have like these ingrained beliefs like that's been going on. But I do notice,
I
like,
was thinking the same
yeah.
thing.
I see that.
No,
But
I mean, we definitely agree
personally-
with you on that, yes.
yeah, but
Yeah.
personally, I feel like the older men have a little bit more regards with traditional norms and respect to women. But like the younger men, at least I notice in the workforce, like they respect us in a position of power. I don't get any pushback with these 19, 20, 22-year-olds. Like they do it, they respect us. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. But in relationships, they don't be showing up mature, you know?
I think the younger men disrespect us in private.
In private, yeah.
Like, once you're gone, they're like, oh, this fucking bitch. Like,
probably
can't
right,
fucking
yeah.
stand her, you know?
Yeah.
I think, like, the older men do it, like, right in our face.
Which I
They
appreciate
don't
more.
care. Yeah.
I mean, I don't appreciate it all, but,
Yeah, but, like...
at least I know this is who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think older men, especially in positions of power, do it to everybody. Like they belittle everyone. In some cases as well. So I'm not saying just in the sense of just belittling men, but like to younger men, like be like, bro,
Definitely.
be like, bro,
Yeah.
you're an idiot. Like, do you not know how to read? Like, what is wrong with you? Like,
I never learned.
yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just come down on everybody.
Everybody,
like, 'cause
yeah.
I'm positioned right to where I have people above me who be talking to me like I'm
Yeah.
dumb, and I'm like, man, I'm literally carrying this motherfucker on my back right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about. So it's like
Mm.
it's just, I feel like once you get to a certain level of position, you kind of just lose all in touch with everybody below you. So, and that's where like I have a bone to pick with like super high supervision who want to speak on like our day-to-day activities.
That they don't perform in.
Then they don't have a fucking clue. They haven't seen anything that we've done in 15 years. So how the fuck can you speak on that?
Agreed.
So the shit like that gets on my nerves. So, but I do agree with you guys. Like, older men or the older generation will definitely just be blamed with how they disrespect people.
Mm-hmm.
But then the younger generation do it more in private. They'll definitely do some just skady ass shit behind your back.
Probably on a confessionals page or something.
Yeah.
Somebody's group chat.
I'm super excited to see how this older generation you talk about, and the males being disrespectful to your faces. I'm excited to see them move out of the
Yeah.
military in general and be filled by people from our generation
Mm-hmm.
I'm
in
scared.
those seats.
You're
I know
scared?
Yeah.
Why?
You think that...
You
they
want them to
cannot
stay?
protect us.
You
I'm talking
want
about, like, as far as the military, they're not fit. They're not ready.
the newer people coming up?
Yeah, the newer people coming up.
Well, I think that's where our job is at. Like mine's Rob's. Like we're in a position to like put that there. Like you don't have to be like the older generation, but what you're not going to do is make it worse for the rest of us. Because I see what you're saying. Like, if the wrong people in charge, this is going to be like daddy's daycare. It's going to go to shit.
Exactly.
But then you might find those individuals who, when you put them in that position, like they'll surprise you.
That is true.
There's a
Because
lot of people like that.
There is a lot of people like that, and I've seen it time and time again where you have like this person who is just shit at his everyday or her everyday, life, and then you just so happen to give them that benefit of the doubt and you put them in this position and now they're soaring. So you never really know.
Yeah.
Until you do.
Yeah. I mean, it could go wrong, it could go great. You kind of just gotta see the cards that you're dealt and hopefully it's a good hand, but I mean, regardless of if it is a bad one, you can always replace it or, kind of dictate or try to at least mentor or shape that person the best that you
100%.
can.
And then I feel like we need to all step in. Like this whole point of having forums like this is to be able to point out certain aspects that we don't like or certain aspects that we do like and being able to capitalize on them.
Yeah.
And speak out to the world like, hey, I promise you, like there's things that we notice, but a lot of times we don't have a voice to speak up and say it. Because if we do it only goes so far.
That is true.
Well, I mean, that was great.
No, that's good.
Let's keep going
I
here.
have a question.
What's
Do
up?
you believe the term chick is a derogatory term?
Chick?
Chick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chick?
That chick.
No.
Speaking about women.
I mean, I've heard worse. So
Let's say it this way: if we call you chicks, is that a problem?
If you call me chick,
that's your wife.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, then you're
He
Beautiful.
uses different derogatory
Like, why would?
Yeah.
Can you give me a way or sentence or example like someone would take offense to it?
No, I can't because I don't personally believe that it should be an
Offensive word.
offensive word. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I don't mean any offense by it when I
Yeah.
say it. I'm just trying to address an individual who is a female without, I don't know. This is how I grew up saying, oh, this
Right.
chick, oh, these chicks over here, they want to
Yeah.
hang out or whatever.
I could see how. Like, if someone's really wanting to get technical, you're like, I'm just referring to woman, like, or a female dog is a bitch. A chick is a bird.
Yeah.
So, like, a girl could be like, I'm not a bird. But, like, I wouldn't think like that.
Grew up learning these broads, like.
Yeah, so that would be more offensive.
But it's like, to me, that's not offensive.
Chick is not offensive to me.
But some people think female.
Yes.
Which is crazy because that's how I described it. You'd be like, oh, these females here.
But
so
I agree. Like, once I like started reading more, like I noticed that like when we talk about men, we say men. When we talk about women, we say a lot of people say female. Yeah. So it's like you're reducing us to just a species instead of like a whole entity. Like we don't call men males. Like we don't go around calling them that.
Because you're a male.
Even though that is what we are, but I think some people see it as like, why do men have this level of respect that women are not getting? People still calling us females. Like, anybody can be a female. A hippopotamus is a female. Like, a seahorse is a female. A pig is a female. Like, a woman is a human being. I think that's why some people get offensive. I don't get offensive, but like it depends on how someone says it. Like, when I hear people say like these females, that's when I know it's coming from a place of like ignorance or like you don't respect.
I don't think guys are that smart.
Thank you. And that'll be the end of our podcast today. Thanks. Well, I'm glad. Can't wait to talk about this later.
I mean, she's not wrong. She's kind of giving y'all a cop outs.
Like, y'all don't think about stuff like that.
Hell
like,
no.
Saying female versus
woman. I thought this through.
That's,
But it takes someone to address it in order for you to be able to actually think about it.
Yeah.
Like, if someone never brings it to your attention, you're never going to know.
Exactly.
Especially if it's something that you've grown up around. Like, you just think that that's normal until you get around individuals where they're like, hold on, wait a minute.
We don't do that here.
We don't do that here. Like, that's not okay. Yeah.
Take a seat.
So then once somebody addresses it or brings it to your attention, then you're kind of like, okay, hold on. Now let me take a step back and actually think about this. And maybe I was wrong by saying this, and you move, or you may not, but I would hope that you would move a little bit more cautious with it.
So that actually brought up, like how you said that, right? Got me thinking about a question we were talking about the other day with how like a lot of people say that the military is racist. The military is very oppressive on people, right, in their lives. But honestly, I feel like joining the military has opened my mind so much because I've worked with so many people from all different backgrounds. Even just with other white people, like how diverse other white people's backgrounds are compared to my own. Like, and then you mix up all these other people from other cultures, other parts of the country, other parts of the world even. Yeah. You know, and it's like, I don't know how a lot of people can feel that way when it's basically you're forced to learn how to work and develop this entire organization with all these different kinds of people day in and day out, and we're very successful at it.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's almost like a contradicted statement. I feel like people aren't happy with certain results that they get, and that's what they turn to, when I feel like that's not necessarily the truth.
The case.
Yeah. I mean, it might be in some people's cases, right? Every unit's different. Every part of the military is different. Don't get me wrong. But I just feel like in like a general scale, it's not necessarily like that. I feel like the opportunities are there.
I agree with you. Yeah.
I think I agree with you as well, but like if I took the time to step outside of myself and like our views, I could see how some people would see the military as oppressive or racist. But like you said, it depends on like your career field or like the unit or the people you're surrounded with. And like unfortunately, if like this is your first base, your first everything in the military, that's gonna jade how you see the military for the rest of like your time being there.
I feel like that conversation I have to have a lot where like, hey man, like you just started. Like listen, like right now it seems like it's shitty, but I promise you go to another base, your whole world might change.
Exactly.
With the military, you might get awards, you might get put in for promotion, like things will possibly get better, like if you keep working hard. Like you can't base your entire military career off of your first base or first interaction with a unit.
And then like me, they go to Cannon.
And send you out there to die, buddy.
It's what you make it. Yeah. We heard that a lot.
Everybody.
I could tell you though, it is definitely like that, because just being like, I could 100% say that the cop environment is 100% different than like other units and other career fields. Because like, for example, my best friend, she is now out of the military and is now a civilian. And before, obviously, she got out, she was a cop. She comes here and meets, friends that are not cops. And the first thing she said was, oh, yeah, you ain't a cop. Like, she just automatically knew, and it's because, like, it's so different.
Yeah.
You can tell in the
Definitely.
energy. I heard. I don't know. I'm not a cop, but I
Yeah,
hear like
but-
y'all can tell in the energy like who was really happy in the Air Force.
We're the same way with
And
our-
you
with
know,
our guys.
like,
Really?
you know what type of cop they are too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell us the type of cops.
You know, like when they're blue.
Oh,
Blue means you are
Yeah, I
completely
know.
like.
The Falcons.
Yeah, explain to our audience what blue means.
Hey, that means, like, you in this shit.
Right.
Like, tactical, got all the tactical gear.
Pulling everybody
Yeah.
over. Like,
You're
Yeah.
doing everything
By
that
the
you
book.
can
Right.
to. I mean, some people view it as extra, but then other people are like, you know, they're very high speed or whatever.
It's my patriarchy duty. Yeah, no.
And cool.
Sometimes I'm like, all right, you need to chill out a little bit.
Right.
But other times I'm like, okay, well, we kind of need more people like that. Because then you find
Yes.
more less than none the individuals who are just like shitbags.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't all be dirtbags.
Yeah. We do need some blue people, but the
Yeah.
blue. I'm not a blue person. I don't think I ever
but
will
they don't need to
be.
be that blue. Like,
Yes.
Like you can have like a little bit of blueness in
Right,
you and
yeah.
still get by.
I like do your job. You know, do your job correctly, but don't make it miserable for everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Agreed.
just doing too much.
Tie your shoes.
That's yeah.
Yeah, your bootlaces go out then in. They're supposed to go in then out.
Nah.
Are
Fix
you
it.
pregnant? Why do you have tennis shoes on?
And then you have the dirt bags. I think I don't like the dirt bags.
So you would rather have blue
I'd
than a
rather
dirt bag?
have blue than a dirt bag.
For sure.
Because they just don't care at all. Like, they'll get you in trouble. They don't care.
They're here to collect a paycheck and go
And
home.
that's it.
Um,
And that's it.
Hey, you're not wrong. We got plenty of those where we work.
Yeah, I almost feel like that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Career.
See, but it's different, right? You get to a certain point to where you're like, you either exceeded everything you did in your wanted to do in your career field, so you're like just kind of coasting. And I feel like for me and Rick, we've got to that point to where like we've done everything we wanted to do. Like we've seen a lot of stuff. We deployed, TDY, won awards, been a big part of big units, big successful things. And it's just like, what's next? Like there's not much left on the horizon except making rank. Like that's pretty much it.
That's different, though, because y'all still do your job.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, but we're also people to where like we can't accept not being good at our job.
Yeah.
Like we can't like
Yeah.
purposely just do a shit job and just pass it on to the next person.
Especially after 18 years, I couldn't.
It's impossible. Like I seriously can't. I've tried.
Yeah.
Like I've tried to just do the bare minimum and I can't. Like I'd be like, well, nope, gonna fix that. I gotta fix it. Gotta do it right. Can't set up these guys for failure. Can't be that guy.
yeah. I mean,
Do y'all think y'all were already like that before you joined, or the military made you like that?
Oh, the
that's a
military
good
made me like
question.
that,
Yeah.
definitely. I was a little piece of shit punk. All I wanted to do was hang out with my friends. I worked at a gas station before.
Aw.
So I was
Want
just
some
having-
cigs?
Hey,
having a
don't
good
knock on the
time.
gas station workers, okay?
was you a 7-Eleven
Yeah.
girl?
No.
Yeah, the military definitely, I don't know, molded me into. They gave me that kind of work ethic
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have anything before. It's like, fuck, I don't care if it counts wrong.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't care if those cigarettes get restocked or not.
Yeah. Out of gas, then go to another gas station.
Yeah,
Like
figure it out, dude. It's not my
Dang.
problem. Yeah.
What about you?
I feel like I've always been like that. I've always been like a natural wanting to get things done, like naturally motivated to get things done.
Okay.
Like I've always had goals. I've always been like very like focused when it comes to making decisions that will better my future. Like I tell her all the time, I'm always living 5 years ahead in the future. Like I've already got shit planned out. You know, it's
That's
just
good. Good for
yeah,
her.
That's
And
just
somebody that doesn't even know what she's doing tomorrow, that's
That's crazy.
yeah.
I think that's where we bump heads the most,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, I can't operate like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm always ahead. I've always got plans, and
It'll
she's
work
like,
out.
yeah, she's like,
It'll work out.
On its own?
talking dinner.
No,
Somehow.
yeah, Asia definitely got her stuff planned out. She know what she doing.
In December.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I'm not 5 years ahead like you.
I was
but I'm the
saying,
same
December
way.
2029. Like,
Oh, no.
No, baby.
You don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow.
Like, I give birth.
well, I know what
in-
happens, and I have a plan for that too.
That's
I give
good.
birth in like a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Nursery's not done.
Jess.
Yeah.
You gotta get
Why are
started.
you telling on yourself? Why are you telling on yourself? You gotta listen to
But it'll work itself out, you know? Like,
You mean
it'll
Rob
get
will work
done.
it out?
It'll get done. You know?
I mean, if you need that women community to
Yeah,
help you out
we'll
with
come
that.
over here and help you.
Yeah, use your community.
You're right. You're right.
Not
We're gonna
live.
go do a podcast. You use the community, and
So that's the end of our podcast. I guess we just tangent way off there. Let's digress. All right, let's get back on schedule here. I like this one. It says, how do you practice self-care and maintain resilience in challenging times? So I feel like it's big between men and women. Like there's a huge difference. I feel like men are just like, oh, dude, we watch some motivational videos and we're good. Like, but you guys have a whole different process in how you do it.
For me, it's pretending I'm not in the military when I'm not at work. Like when I'm not at work, I'm a civilian.
You be delusional.
Right? Like, yeah. Not saying like I do bad stuff or anything.
Yeah.
You know? But like I take myself away from the military.
Okay.
And that helps me like refresh my brain.
Try it. I'm just looking for a charger for this iPad.
The poor guy.
Our questions have disappeared.
What?
Sorry, we keep going. Resilience.
Oh, we're still good.
This
What
is
about
this is an iPad 12.
Still,
No,
still
they're
good.
right.
Okay.
Apologies. Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
No, we're okay though.
Yeah.
And keep sharing what you were sharing.
I think for me, it's literally like when you think about self-care, you think about like, you know, doing like massages and facials and shopping, and that's kind of like my little outlet, especially like being on my own. I've now realized that going out and doing things by myself just like gives me that sense of like peace. So when I'm like faced with those challenging times or like maybe stressed out from work or whatever the case may be, I'll do things that I enjoy. You know, whether that be going shopping or going to get a massage or whatever, because that just helps me.
That's what's up. That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah, alone time is very key, I think, to refortifying your mental health.
Yeah. And it helps you not depend on other people, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really helps.
Yeah, it's definitely good for you to be that way.
Yeah,
I agree.
especially if you're in the military
Yeah.
and a woman and overseas.
By yourself.
Yeah,
By
it's
yourself.
Like, you need to
Yeah.
know how to be alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how you said, like, for men, it's just like a simple little formula, and for us it's so much. And I think it's just like because of history, like from the beginning of times, like y'all have been out the house hunters, like y'all have this one track mind, and it's just always been that way.
Smooth brain, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
The definition of simple.
Yeah, women, like, we just got, you know, into the corporate workplace, like, what, the past 200-300 years, maybe? Not even that long. You know, so, like, for us, it's like when we show up to work, like, we show up still giving a piece of ourselves personally. It's not just all logic and professional, and it's like, it's taxing. You come home, you still got to take care of yourself, your hair, your nails, look presentable to yourself, to your significant other, the world. So like, yeah, it is, I do feel like it's deeper for us. It's not just like a watch a video or play a video game and call it a day. So for me, it's definitely like sleep, journaling, therapy, hanging out with my female friends. Like, if I'm not going to pour into myself, I'd rather get it from a healthy, like, connection. Like, a lot of us depend on, like, alcohol or, like, sex or a man. And so, yeah, for me, it's just, like, sleep, doing things I like baking, cooking, exercising, yoga, silence, talking it out. Yeah, that's my self-care. Silence from the world. Or traveling, spending somebody else's money.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I love that.
I know you do.
Anyways, if anybody would like to sponsor traveling, this is your
You
opportunity.
need to recruit somebody for your team for her.
Anyways, no, that's awesome. I like your thoughts on it, and you're definitely correct. I feel like men are we think much simpler, yeah, in sense on how we want to just better our day-to-day life. So we're just like, I don't know, I'm gonna go home, take a nap, and I'll be alright. Like, after just spent 12 hours getting beaten with a stick or something, you know, you're perfectly okay with just coming home.
On the flat line,
Yeah.
With a stick on the flat line.
pretty much.
No.
Yeah, coming home and, like, I don't know, having a hot pocket and we're like, life is good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Well,
how...
shit, I'm so much better now.
Yeah. Like, I mean, honestly, for a lot of men, wow, okay.
I know, I said wow too.
I didn't know they were flying.
You gotta make a phone call.
So disrespectful.
Yeah. Actually, for a lot of men, just coming home and if you have a significant other and having them do like simple things that we don't really want to do. You know what I'm saying? Come home and there's a meal ready, or they come home and they just
Not every day.
Not every day, but they come home and they greet you. Like things like that, like little things like that will make any man happy.
Aww.
And if a man doesn't agree to that, they fucking lying right to your face, because that's the truth. Like I love coming home and having Jazz greet me
Aww.
and just be happy to see me. I'm like, all right, at least somebody's happy to see
I
me.
think you're happier when Gunner greets you.
Never. After we spent all day digging holes in the yard, I gotta fill. Like,
Thanks a
Aww.
lot, asshole.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he spends all day plotting how he's gonna bite me without getting caught. So, love Gunner, but I don't know if he loves me.
You should definitely have a podcast where we ask you guys questions about like what men appreciate and don't appreciate.
We can do it next.
Because
So
the little things, like you said, we be going all out, and it's not even what y'all want half the time.
Yeah.
It's just simple stuff.
I am not gonna lie to you. Very little men want the all-out treatment.
And that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Like we're like
You need to educate us on your podcast then. Next episode.
like we come home like, you ordered pizza? Wait a minute, you want to watch a movie with me?
You got me a beer?
What?
I love you.
Yeah. So do you want a new car or a trip to Bali? What do you want?
That's all
like,
you gotta do. Okay.
like you really like
Taking
a lot
notes.
of
Yeah.
a lot of. Well, I feel like a lot of women don't ask.
That is
They
true.
don't ever
We
ask. They just
assume.
kind of assume that this is what we want, but it's like no.
Yeah, or they
Yeah.
assume they want because that's what we want, or like let me do.
Exactly.
And you're right, we should
Mhm.
ask more.
I think that happens a lot in relationships. Like,
Yeah.
you love somebody how you want to be loved, but that's not how you should do
Yeah,
it.
because they teach us
Yeah.
as kids, treat others how you want to be
Love
treated.
language is a big
Love
thing.
Love
Wife
language
and
is
me,
huge.
Andrea and I, my wife, we talk about that all the time. Her love language is like gift giving and stuff like that. So that's what she wants too, is little gifts and little things done around the house. For me, it's just I just want to spend time.
Mm.
You know, that
Yeah.
time with her is more important to me than gifts and whatnot. So
Yeah.
And it's not like you wouldn't appreciate gifts.
No,
it's
It's
just
not
like
your primary.
that's not
Yeah.
what the type of love you want.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hers is more task oriented. So like, if she comes
Mhm.
home and I clean out her van, she's like, "Oh, thank you." Stuff like that. Yeah.
Acts of service.
But giving and receiving is different.
It
Like
is.
the way that you want to receive love can be completely different from the way that you give
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to ask, okay, well, how do you like to receive it, and then how do you like to give it?
Yeah.
And then be in tune with your partner's
Yeah.
love language. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Andrea and I's roles have kind of reversed. She started a job in June, so she leaves almost immediately after I leave for work in the morning, but then she doesn't get home till about 6 o'clock at night. So when I get home for lunch, I'll try to knock out the dishes, clean the house, stuff like that, and it's every day. And then picking up my youngest from school, and I feel like I'm more of the homemaker now, even though I still have my job. Like I'll come home, pick up the kids from school, get them ready for games, soccer games, basketball, whatever. Get them all ready, come home, start making dinner, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then she comes home, and honestly, I think my favorite part of the day is getting up before her. I'll get up, take a shower, go downstairs, make a coffee, take care of the dishes and stuff. Yeah, and just basically
We need more
take care of
Ricks.
everything.
Don't
in
let
the
somebody make
morning.
my
Rick
coffee
living for
in the
that
morning.
all.
I know, right?
Yeah, I like to take care of everything in the morning, so then when she comes down, she can have her coffee and sit on the couch, hang out with the kids for a little bit. But
That's really
Yeah.
sweet.
I'm not gonna lie, I do complain about the amount of things that I have to do now.
See, but I think complaining is
that's-
healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like if we don't complain,
They'll
like,
think it's.
but I feel like we just get all pent up and be like, all right, that's it, we're burning the house down.
I'm
Like
done,
that we have
yeah.
no other choice now. Like
Maybe
Yeah.
not to that extent.
Yeah, but-
I'm gonna stop doing the things that help out.
like
Yeah.
I feel like we need to complain as like men. We just naturally gonna be like we're upset with something. We gotta let people know that we're upset about it. Like it's just how we are.
Yeah.
Andrea and I talked about it recently, and I was like, I know I complain a lot, but I'm not gonna stop doing it. I just gotta complain about it. Let me get it off my chest.
I think complaining also is like inadvertently a way of like getting your partner to appreciate you. I know it sounds weird, not in a manipulative way, but like if you don't say it, they're not gonna be like, oh wow, he actually does do these things. Versus if you never say anything about it, some people take it for granted and like, oh, this is what he does. This is what he likes to do. Like It's nothing
Yeah.
special.
But-
Nothing great.
It,
So-
it makes me mad.
It makes you mad when they complain?
Yeah, because it's like, you don't have to complain. Like, I'm going to appreciate what you're doing for me.
Oh, here we
Yeah.
go.
But I
Everyone's
feel
just
like-
take a step into my
I
life.
feel like when you're complaining, it makes me not want to ask you to do anything else for me, you know?
Yeah.
Cause like
I could see that.
Yeah. Like,
So-
just tell me if you feel like
You're doing too
I don't
much.
appreciate you enough. And then I'll appreciate you more.
So
That is a healthier approach. You're right.
So the argument that we always happen to have here is, right, she'll be like, can you rub my feet? And I'll be like, fine, sure, let me see your feet. And she's like,
Well, then you
She's
don't
like-
sound happy to do it.
but
Exactly.
I'm like, yeah, but I'm still gonna rub your feet. Like, why do I gotta be
Like,
happy about
don't-
this?
don't
Because it
sound
makes
Like,
us
it.
yes,
feel
I
bad.
waited
Yeah.
all day for this. Get over it.
Okay,
Like,
imagine like if you were like, I want to have sex. She's like, oh, okay, fine. Like, do you still want to have sex?
So I thought it was normal. Like that.
But someone wanting it or like being okay with it makes it less stressful. Like, damn, I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
I can ask for this again.
Yeah.
I
agree with that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Way
I
to
mean,
just
I'm still gonna
debunk my
ask you to
whole
wait.
my whole stance for the last 2 years. Gone, completely debunked.
Yeah. If I
Well, we
don't-
probably should change topics
Oh,
now.
hold on, man. If I don't complain about it, the other route I take is being like, hey, I did the dishes, I did the laundry, and folded all the clothes, I put them all away.
I like that.
You know, and I'll tell her about it, and she'll be like, okay.
Oh.
Right? And it's just like,
Oh
she's
my
like,
God.
why do you have to tell me you did it? I see that you've done it. Why do you gotta tell me?
See, I like that way better.
Because I want a little reward.
Right,
See,
yeah.
but that brings my most important part, right? Like 99% of men just want appreciation for
Yeah.
what we do. We want nothing in return except thank you for doing that. We appreciate what you do every day.
She does
Thank
do
you
that
for
a lot more.
thank you for
Yeah.
digging holes all day to make us money so we have some place to live. Like
Yeah.
that's all we want. Like we don't want nothing else. Like we don't want you to come home and give us sex and make a drink for us and have a
You
meal
don't want
made for us
sex?
every day. But
Oh.
I didn't say that.
He said every day.
Yeah, every day. And just looking at you, you know, all right, just simmer down there,
Too much,
Tiger.
she is gonna pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, not to defend your wife, and I've read this in books, that a lot of women feel like they work a second shift. Even when they get off of work, they're still cooking, cleaning. So I've heard from women that, like, when you guys sit, I still agree with Jazz. Like, that is a better approach than complaining, and I would appreciate that. But for some women, like, they hear that, and they're kind of like, okay, like, I do this every day. Thank you for finally doing it. Like, they don't see it as, like, a real big help. But to you, it's like, you know, I did something to help you out. Like, anything,
Outside of
even
my
you being,
normal
yeah,
responsibilities.
even her being like, oh my gosh, you did this, would make a huge difference than just like, okay,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's kind of the response I get. Not the, oh wow, you did this, but the, all right, I did it for this long. Like when I was in Korea, and she had to do it all. She worked, had the 3 kids, and it was so stressful for her. And trust me, I appreciate her for everything she did.
Mhm.
last
Oh, we
month.
appreciate her.
Yeah, but now our roles have kind of reversed, and now more of the housework and shit is on me. So I don't know. I feel like it's tough, man. There's days I get home from work and I'm like, I don't want to do anything, and I'll go upstairs and lay in bed
Yeah.
for 10 minutes before I go pick up the kids. But even that 10 minutes alone, that's good for me to decompress. And I'm like,
Really?
all right, let's get back to it. Yeah, I'll go upstairs. Sometimes I'll play guitar or
Okay.
you know, play around on my phone. But
I think that's just generational curses that we are now trying to break.
Mm.
Because you think back when women couldn't work or they couldn't do these things, they were the individuals who tended to the home.
right.
So like now that I feel like the way that society has kind of like moved is the fact that like there are so many men that still view women in that light, but now we're in the same positions that they're in, we're taking on the same workload that they're doing, but they still view us as like we need to be tending to the home. And not every man is like that, but it gets to the point to where, you know, we are feeling like we're having to take on that second shift whenever we get off, or, you know, to us, we think that those things might not necessarily be as important when you're picking up the slack of, you know, tending to the home.
Mhm.
So, you know, we're like, okay, well, he's just doing it. I mean, I have to do it. So, you know, it's
Yeah.
just a generational
He's just
curse that
helping
we
me out
just
at
now
work.
have to try to break.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do feel like a lot of men have stepped up and started to fill that gap.
True.
Yeah.
Without skipping a
Definitely.
beat, like I feel like a lot of men are doing their part, which is why I feel like they're not they have a problem with not feeling like they're appreciated for it, because they're like, I mean, without even asking, I just decided to start make sure the house was clean. I knew you were starting working more hours, so I made sure dinner was ready for you, like stuff like that. So I feel like it goes both ways, but I think it is a generational curse where like the previous generations have made it so soured, like a taste in everybody's mouth towards it, that now that we have a hard time like communicating like how we feel with it, because it's like, yeah, but shouldn't you be doing this? Like, and that's not the topic or how it should be handled at all.
Yeah.
It's our home, not your home or your
Mm-hmm.
home or my home. It's our home, so we should take care of our home. It's our kid. We should take care of our kids.
I also think social media plays a part in that.
Definitely.
Like, because they always say, like, oh, that's the bare minimum. Okay, it might be the bare minimum, but still say, like, thank you. Like,
yeah, you could be by yourself.
Yeah.
Would it be the bare minimum then?
Exactly.
Single, alone?
You be doing all this by
You
yourself.
know? Like,
Yeah.
I
That's
think
true.
social media has not made women, but kind of like made women not appreciate men as much.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost become popular
Yeah.
for a lot of women to be
It's the new trend.
ungrateful
Yeah.
for like stuff that men do for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they kind of embellish like, I guess, mistreatment of men. Like it's okay because it's like women's time to
Shine.
be in power. You know what I'm saying? To shine, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and which is I feel like unfair because a lot of men don't expect that at all. They're just trying to be good guys, trying to be good people, right? And it's just like thrown in their face, and social media like supports it. So I feel like in a lot of cases it hurts a lot of men for wanting to even date or even be out there in that in that presence in the world, because they're like, what's the point? I'm just going to be looking like a piece of shit anyway. So it's, why should I care about you not being able to pay your bills or be able to take care of your stuff, your home, or your kids? Like, I don't give a shit. Like, how does that bother me? Like, you're going to talk shit about me anyways. So I feel like that's just social media. Yeah, she's 100% correct. Social media is definitely putting a bad taste in that realm.
Yeah.
I think luckily we're on a podcast with men who are good men. You know, I'm not going to say they're not out there. They're definitely out there. There's some good guys out there, but I think, like, there are some men, particularly like in our generation, like, it seems like they're putting us in power to be those kind of women. I'm not going to say us because I'm not a mean girl like that, but it seems like some men thrive off of mistreatment, unfortunately. Like, you know how they say nice guys finish last?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing for some women. Nice women finish last. And, like, we see the women that are acting like this getting the reward of a good guy. And, like, that is, like, the formula people are seeing and glorifying. So, like, oh, if you act like this, you know, he'll do whatever. But we know that's a mature, stable man is going to want a mature, stable woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I never understood the fact of is like women want a good guy, right? And then the guy treats them like how they want to be treated, and then he's called a simp and gets treated like shit and then left behind. So like that's the shit that was kind of like, wait a minute, what did you ever want?
It's not the women calling them simps.
It's usually
the
men.
other men.
Men are calling other men simps and then making them
Yes.
feel bad for being good men.
Mm-hmm.
Usually. And if the man is not confident in himself, or like, this is how I raise, this is how I want to treat my woman, it's really easy for some other man to come in and say, oh, you're a simp. Like, why are you doing all this for this girl? Like, what is she doing for you? And then you're like,
Because if you tell me your man is doing all these things for you, I'm like, oh my god,
I'm
wow.
happy.
Does he
Yeah,
have
we're
friends?
exactly.
Like,
We're happy for
Hey,
each
me
other.
just have friends.
As an example.
Yeah.
But, you know?
Because she's pretty, and I do all this stuff.
There's actually a book that talks about how men love bitches, and I still don't think there should be like, and it's so, I've tested it out. I'm not gonna lie, I've tested it out. I'm like, I want to see how bad I can treat this person or like get away with it. And some of them will allow it, but the moment I'm like nice and like who Asia truly is, it's like they run away. So I think for some men, like, I'm not saying all, like I said, some people, I don't know what dysfunction they have going on up there. You know, some people like to chase, that's a thing, but you know, I do understand where you're coming from, but I do think both genders have to take like a responsibility and like, what person are you being in those group and forums, like when people are being called simps? Like, are you standing up for them? Are you advocating for them? Are you saying like this is how you should be treating women, or addressing like how they were raised treating women, vice versa for women? Because some women do it because of lack of men in their life, or not having a dad, or not respecting men. Like, it comes from so many things.
I feel like a lot of men treat women that way because they grew up in a single mother home. Because how their mom treated them is how they treat women. So if their mom was awful to them all the time and blamed them for every single fucking problem in her life because she hadn't had them, they're going to treat women like that, because they're going to be like, well, women ain't shit. They treat, you know what I'm saying? Like, my mom treated me that way, I'm going to treat you that way. because that's how I think all women think. That's
Wow,
how
yeah.
women talk to people. And then like a lot of men are very emotional when it comes to certain aspects like that when they shouldn't be. Like there's certain instances where they should just stand their ground and how they think, and they cave into whatever female that they're talking to because they don't know how to approach them, how to handle those situations. So I feel like that's a big part of it as well.
Goes off of like maturity too, because you'll see like multiple times where you'll have they come off as like that masculine man, but they go for more weaker women because they want that woman to be able to just kind of like go with the flow type thing. And then you'll find a man who is more secured and more mature in like himself, and he doesn't mind having that more, powerful stanced woman. And like I just had a conversation with one of my male friends, and I would like to say that I view myself as, that strong, independent woman where I don't have a problem, bringing situations to like that individual's attention. I don't have a problem addressing it. So a lot of the times you'll find men and that energy scares them. And it's because they're not secure with themselves, or they don't know how to be able to be confrontational in a mature manner. They just view it as, oh well, she's a bitch, and I don't want to be involved with that.
See, but I also do think some women don't know how to approach men when they give these criticisms.
That is true.
So some women like to bully men.
That is true.
They'll
emasculate
be like,
them.
Instead of being like, hey, I just don't really like how you dress. Like, we can go and work on ways that you dress and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Let's go shopping.
Yeah, let's go shopping. Let's go do things that you like to do. And I'll be like, I guess I'll tag along and hold bags and learn some stuff on the way. Like, but some women are like, no, you look like trash, like all the time, just constantly criticizing, constantly just beating on them and telling them that they ain't worth shit because how they dress and people never take them serious, and it's like they just don't know how to tell them what they want. You know what I'm saying? Like men, I promise you, men will learn just about anything to make their women happy.
That is true.
If it's said the right way.
If it's said the right way, you know what I'm saying? Like just simple things. You know what I'm saying? Like helping Jazz with her hair. Just little things like that. Like I've learned so much.
I was so proud of that.
just because I want to help her when she has certain situations happen, or when she doesn't think something looks right. Like be like, oh, let me help you with that. And it's just like little things like that. And most men would be like, that fucking guy's a loser for trying to learn that stuff. And it's like, that's not the case at all. Like, I'm just trying to make her happy.
But I promise you, every woman will be like, oh, he's so sweet.
The people I hear hating on men like that are usually men. It's not women. I never hear a woman, especially a black woman or a woman of like textured hair. Like I've never heard them complain about a man being interested in their hair. If anything, it's a plus, because most of the time no one wants to deal with our hair or anything that we have going on in our lives.
We don't even want to do
and even not just black women, like as women, like periods, like there's things that men that don't want to deal with that, and like we do appreciate it when you guys like take the time to learn about us, because we learn about you guys in other ways,
But with that being said, I feel like a lot of women don't approach their men properly. Be like, my man has no interest in learning any of that shit. And it'd be like, well, have you ever asked? Have you ever like sat down and explained to them like, hey, this would make my life a lot easier, make me feel better if you showed me how to do this, or not showed me, let me show you how to do this, or explain this to you. Like a lot of women don't do that, but they wanna like bully their men into feeling like shit for not doing it. Like I feel like it goes both ways when it comes to certain situations like that. Like a simple conversation could literally end all of that.
Definitely.
Yeah, it happens in the workplace too, though. Because, like, we had kind of like a seminar or whatever that was geared around, Women's History Month. And there were some men that sat in on it. And I feel like there are so many things that happen, in a woman's life that are just very touchy subjects. Like the fact that we have periods every month. Most men are just like, no, I don't want to hear about it. Or the miscarriages, or just pregnancy in general, those types of topics. Whereas in a workplace, you find more less than none that you have those male counterparts or those male coworkers where they don't know how to approach their their female counterparts about it, and they don't ask the questions. they don't necessarily want to take that initiative to find out more about it. Like if, say, you're a male supervisor and you have a female troop and she has her period, and for whatever reason it's horrible for her, because a lot of women experience that.
Right.
And now you feel like as a woman you don't know what to do, because you may not have another woman that you can turn to. So you're kind of just like, well, am I just going to deal with it? Or, you know, like, what am I going to do? Because you have that leadership or that supervision who you don't feel comfortable approaching, because they've never made that initiative to be like, okay, well, let me ask her if there's anything that I can do for her. Because, I mean, it's okay if you don't know, you know, what to do in that situation, but you're not going to know unless you ask.
Exactly.
Right. I have an example of that, actually.
What?
Yeah, like
Share.
being pregnant, you know. So, I saw one of my like higher ups one day, and usually like I'm like really smiling, you know, and talking and all that. But that day, like I just was not feeling good. So I didn't really say much to him. And then a couple days after, he was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna talk to her today because you know she be having attitudes." And I was like, "I'm pregnant." He's like, "So?"
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Like you gave him insight and he still did
yeah,
nothing with it.
Exactly. It's like,
yeah,
read the room, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I know you don't understand, like, pregnancy, I guess, but, like, you should.
Yeah.
Like, if you're higher up, like,
You definitely should.
You know?
That
I
could be
feel
your
like
daughter.
everybody-
Yeah.
Everybody should understand pregnancy.
Especially-
Fuck,
yeah.
it's the only way we come into this world.
Literally, we
So-
both play a part in it. So.
yeah.
I'm a test tube baby. Like,
It's so sad though, because I feel like when women get pregnant, I feel like it's viewed in such a negative aspect in the
Yeah.
military,
We were just talking-
especially security
Yeah.
forces.
We were
They
just
see
talking
it
Like
as a
about this
numbers
the other day.
thing.
they
Right.
make it seem like, okay, well, you know, I hear this so much and it's so bad. Like they'll never say it directly, but you know that they're saying it. They'll say things like, oh, she got pregnant because she's just trying to get out of work, or oh, she got pregnant because she's trying to get out of deployment,
Or she just wants to go
PTs.
back
or
office.
she just wants to go back office.
Yeah.
And they literally use the term Bob for individuals.
What's Bob?
Who, back office bitch.
Oh,
Yes.
Lord. I haven't heard that one.
Yep.
Me
And
neither.
Wow.
most
Never heard
women, like, don't get me wrong, I've seen pregnant women that work flight. You know, they work the 12-hour shifts. They pull the road. They do this, that, and the third. But it's just not sustainable, because for a woman, when you're pregnant, like, you go through so many things. Like, you may be fine one day. You may feel fantastic. And then the next day, you're throwing your guts up, or you're having pain, or you're doing this, that, and the third.
Exactly.
And I mean, I've never been pregnant before, but just, you know, having friends that have been, or even like my sister and things like that. So I've experienced it, and it's just viewed in such a negative aspect. Like, oh, she's just trying to get out of work. Like, no, she's bringing a whole nother human into this world. Like, cut her some slack. And it takes either those male individuals who actually give a damn and actually want to take that initiative to be like, hey, no, like, maybe I should vouch for her.
Yeah.
Or those women who are in empowered
Exactly.
positions that are like, hey, no, like, this is what it is and this is what it ain't. Like, I had a female flight chief, and we had an individual who was pregnant, and multiple times, you know, the female that was pregnant was like, oh, you know, I'm not feeling good, like, can I come in late, like this, that, and a third. And there was a lot of chatter saying, oh, she's just trying to get out of work. And the female that we had in leadership, like, cut the shit. She was like, she is literally pregnant, and she will literally get whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Because
They don't understand how bad pregnancy is.
and,
Yeah.
and
Like-
for most, like, there's a lot of women, especially depending on that woman, like, they can be a high-risk pregnancy. And that's not news, or that's not something that the world needs to know.
Yeah.
Like, that, some of that stuff is private. So if you don't know that, if I don't know that you're a high-risk pregnancy, or you got these issues going on, I just think that you're fine.
Yeah.
But yet you got all these things going on, and all I see is the fact that you're not coming up to work, or you're not pulling your weight, or you're not doing this. And I mean, it's males and females are guilty of it.
Yeah.
Where, you know, they'll make those comments, but I'm like, it's just viewed so badly, and I'm like, it shouldn't be like that. But it's not only with pregnancy. It's, with the whole period aspect. It's with, people that go through miscarriages. Like, a miscarriage alone is difficult. And it's not even from, like, the stress that it puts on a woman's body, but it's also the emotional and mental aspect of it. And they just think that you're supposed to bounce back and be fine.
Yeah.
Like, you go lose a child and tell me how you're feeling.
Exactly. Even if you only knew you were pregnant for, like, a week.
Yeah.
It
still means
does
something.
to you,
And it's crazy because you'll find men who feel that same emotional attachment. Like, you'll have certain men.
That's true, and
I've seen
them.
it where they'll have their spouse or their partner, they'll be expecting, they lose the child, and now that man is like depressed. He's going through it because that's still his child.
Yeah. And
And
they expect him to show up.
they
don't
expect
think he
him
has
to show
any
up.
feelings
Right.
because he didn't carry the baby.
Exactly, and that's just such a topic that I feel like is not talked about enough.
Yeah.
I agree.
And they have been making changes in the military for that, which I do appreciate, but it still goes back to culture individuals. And like you said, I'm glad that you had a woman in leadership to stand up for that, but I actually hear it worse from women in leadership that I've been in for a while because they're like, oh, well, when I was back in the day when I was in, like, I had to do this and my pregnancy
I
was
had 3
X, Y,
kids. I
and Z.
didn't miss a shit.
Yeah, like, and stuff like that. I'm like, how are you making it better?
'Cause they're
So
trying to-
because you were miserable, everyone else is supposed to be miserable when you have literally the power to make a change on that.
Do you not remember how you felt
Exactly.
when this was you?
And I hate being that person standing
Right,
up
fair
to seniors and master sergeants. Like, I really hate being that person because, like, we'll be cool the entire time. But the moment I see something like that I feel like I have to stand up for, it's like, why am I even having to talk to you about this of all people? And then, like, I feel like there's repercussions, like maybe I'm going to get in trouble, but, like, I'm going to stand on business because how are you, you know? And then sometimes it takes you reminding them in, like, a backhanded way, like, dang, I used to look up to you, and now I do not.
But rank amnesia is a real thing.
It
They
is.
make rank and they forget where they come from
And
real quick.
Yeah. You
I
got to
preach
remind
that
them.
all the time about how the respect should go both ways. A lot of the times you'll find individuals that they think like, oh, just because I'm this rank, like, you need to respect me. Like, yes, in a certain aspect, I agree. But then on the flip side of that, like, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, regardless of if you're, lower ranking or not, even me, like, as an NCO, like, I respect my airmen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't just automatically assume that they're going to respect me because I'm an NCO. Like, it doesn't work that way. And you find more cases where you'll have those individuals who think like that, where they're the ones that's getting, all the appreciation from the airmen, or they're the ones that all these airmen are turning to because they feel that way.
Yeah.
And then you have those individuals who just think like, oh, well, I'm a tech sergeant or master sergeant or whatever, like, you need to respect me. Like, yeah, sure, but no.
I think respect should be earned both ways, like you said. Like,
It should.
it's one thing to be respected out of fear versus respected out of, desire. Like, wow, I like what you stand for as a leader. I want to respect you, not I have to respect you.
In a professional aspect, 100%. Like, I'm never going to, and maybe this is just, like, the way my upbringing kind of thing, but I'm never going to go to, like, say, a master sergeant, regardless of if they respect me or not, especially in a public view. I'm never going to disrespect them because they are that rank. Like, that's just who I am. But behind closed doors or in, one-on-one conversations, like, disrespectfully, this is what it is.
I don't even say that. You're better than me.
Yeah, I'm like Rob.
I mean,
You
I
go
don't
up
say
to
it,
'em.
but, like,
Show no mercy on people.
I
It
mean,
depends.
yeah, I mean, it really just depends on the situation. But I'm like, and then tying it back into the whole, like, women thing, like, you'll find women in power or, like, higher ranking individuals where they just blatantly, like, don't respect them. And I'm like, that's such, because you'll find it where, like, they're like, oh, well, I don't know how she got here, or she must have did this to get to these positions. And I'm like, no, I just worked my ass off like every other person in here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I feel like a lot of higher ranking women don't get the respect that they deserve because they worked for where they got. There was no backdoor deals going on for them to get there. They got what they get. But speaking on another part, so in our career field, you have to be very militant. So, like, if we're not on top of you know, and paying attention continuously to the people that we work underneath us, and constantly on them about doing the proper thing, like people can pass away. You know, we just had that happen recently.
Oh, wow.
Like it happens, and so we were very big on like no man, like you're gonna listen when I'm explaining stuff. Like it's not really an option.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like understand, give, and respect. Like I'll never like talk down to anybody or treat them poorly, but I'm at the position and got where I've got because I've went and done the stuff I needed to do.
Yeah.
So like you need to understand that like I am the knowledgeable factor here. I am competent when it comes to talking about certain things. So you need to listen to me when I'm talking to you about something, but I'll never treat you poorly. Like and understand, because you're looking at the aspect of like a social respect and as well as a military. So like they should respect the rank 100%. But like if you're a dirtbag, like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, there's plenty of people who are high ranking who've made a lot of rank who are dirtbags.
Dirtbags.
You know, and terrible people.
Very true.
So, and I agree 100% with that. Like, I'm going to tell them to their face, like, there's more than enough people where I'm like, man, you are a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you got where you got, but you are a piece of garbage. And I don't like you, so don't talk to me.
I mean, it goes like that with security forces, too. Like, we work with guns every day.
Mm-hmm.
It is so easy for somebody to do a mishap because they just didn't want to listen, and now somebody's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it can happen. And so a lot of the times you'll find in environments with like security forces or maintainers or, you know, those types of jobs, you have situations where it's like, okay, no, like you need to listen to me.
But I don't mean to cut you off, but I feel like a lot of them get that twisted.
Yeah.
It's you being your job and being serious as you being disrespectful to them.
Yeah,
and it's
100%.
like, no, you haven't earned like that ability to fight my words because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't listen to what I'm telling you. I'm not coming at you because I think you're dumb or I think you're an inability. I just don't want you to get hurt or fall into a situation where it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But you'll find, and I've seen cases like that where you'll find individuals who they'll say, okay, you know, I need you to go do this, and you know that person will be trying to ask, oh, why, and they're like, no, I just need to go do this. And then after everything is kind of like settled, then that person kind of takes a step back and be like, okay, listen, this is why I told you to do this because this was on the line.
Yes.
But then other people, they just don't have that
And
conversation,
that's a good leader and a poor leader.
and then that's where that's where the misconception gets made of like, oh well, this person's just doing this because of their rank. Like, no, this person was trying to save your life.
Exactly.
So
I'm a huge believer in that you'll never be a good leader until you learn how to be a good follower.
Very
Yeah.
true.
Until you can understand what people are telling you and why they're telling you, and having the follow up and understanding, getting follow up information, you'll never be a good leader because you'll never do that to your people and they'll look at you like you're crazy. I'm a big believer competency is power.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just having those conversations, really.
Like now.
Yeah.
I think some people are just so used to how the military used to be that they think that is the only way.
The only way, yeah.
You know, and it's not.
I agree. I mean, that's the truth.
Some people are not ready for change.
No.
When it's crazy because there's literally change happening every single day.
Every day.
Problem is, though, I feel like they force change down our throats, expecting us to just be like, all right, change, accept it. But it's not really the case. The majority of us are like, well, man, I just figured out how to use this uniform like a week ago, so I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
So,
I think the change had to happen though.
Definitely.
Because of the people that are
100%.
now in. You know?
I mean, there's no better environment than the current for a lot of these changes, wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, change is definitely happening every day, without a doubt.
Some good, some bad.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of that, what do you think of the new dress and appearance?
Dress and appearance, yeah. They lining up for men, not just women anymore. Y'all saw that? I was so happy for you guys.
I know, right? We're almost people.
What you got for us next?
No, that was the question. Like, what's your guys' opinion on
dress and appearance?
The new regulations. Like, what's your thoughts on it?
I think the biggest win for me, I don't know about y'all, at least for the women, I love when they took, you do? I love when they took out has to compliment skin tone or like race.
Nails.
For nails in here.
Oh,
yeah, because, you know, you would see a pale person dye their hair red, black, white, blonde. But the moment we did it, depending on how light or dark you were, it got more controversial. But, you know, I love that they took that out because I felt like the Air Force started to finally see people or women as individuals. Like,
here's my thing though. Like, okay, I like that they changed it from that to it just can't deter from the uniform. But now they have the colors that you can have in there.
For nails, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did not
I
like
don't
that.
like that.
But what I do like, they put specifically what is not authorized. And if I was defending one of my troops and they came to me with, like, let's say, lilac purple, I would, it doesn't say they can't have it.
Yeah.
So if someone came up to my troop, it is our duty when you're in that position to stand up for people. And you don't have to be an NCO to do that.
Yeah.
I would be like, if someone came like, your airman is out of regs, show me. And honestly, in my opinion, I feel like we have bigger problems in the Air Force in dress and appearance.
That's my thing.
So that would make me secondly pissed off. Why are you coming to me about this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's, like, good and bad with it. Like, I know one of the things that I took away from it was, it was for pregnant women because they don't make fleeces for,
they don't?
No, they don't make, because they'll make maternity uniforms.
I saw that.
But they don't make, like, for jackets, like maternity.
So they just get
Yeah.
y'all oversized jackets and call it in?
They put in the dress and appearance that if you're pregnant and your fleece doesn't fit, you can wear a solid black civilian jacket.
Oh, I
Really?
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know they had it to where you don't have to zip it up.
No, you can wear
Already,
it can't have like any like big logos or whatever on it.
Yeah.
But like if you just have like a solid black jacket, you can wear it in uniform.
You're Victoria's Secret Sherpa.
Okay.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I really liked that they took out skin color, but I also liked, I reaped the benefits of them focusing on women's standards, but I did notice over the years, like, there was no advancement for men. So I was happy that they finally put something in there for you guys.
Yeah.
So that's...
I was just happy about being able to put my hands in my pocket.
That was the big
that was a
takeaway.
game changer for us old
Yeah.
folks.
I feel like y'all should be able to have beards.
Y'all
That's
should.
one thing.
Every other military
Yeah.
does.
Yeah,
Everybody hear that?
Every other military
Take note.
does. And I think that was the first time I realized that, like, when we talk about, like, women's history and, like, patriarchy, like, if you benefit from something, you're usually not going to speak up on things, how it's oppressing other people. So, like, I realized that the military, at least since I've been in since 2016, 17, like, they have been working on women's, like, evolution for uniform standards and all kind of stuff and maternity leave. And of course I'm happy, but like I didn't think like, what about the men in paternity leave? What about them in their dressing uniform?
Yeah.
And of course, because I wasn't the oppressed version of that, I wasn't speaking up on that. So I did realize like my privilege as a woman in the military at that point in time, and I was like, dang, my troops are like, I want to grow out my beard.
Like, just give these men beards. What's it
Yeah.
hurting? Like,
It was-
come on now.
It was not just the beards, it was the parts. It was like, you have a lot of, interracial couples now that have mixed kids, so they have the curly hair. Like, they should be able to wear their hair how they want. It's not detracts from uniform.
Yeah.
The afros. Then you have, you couldn't do an afro, but you got people doing the fucking man buns on the weekends because they're slicking it up with gel.
Yeah.
So, I was like, dang, it's not my fight, but I can't be over here reaping the benefits talking about women history and feminists and womanists and then not standing up for men too. But that was my biggest takeaway. To answer your question, I get too off tangent. What about y'all too?
What was the question?
Baby
Pregnancy
brain.
brain.
Baby brain. It's just
I
talking.
think I answered.
Yeah, I think you already answered. Talking about what you just liked or disliked about the new changes to dress and appearance.
I know this it's not like new, but the whole like the men getting more paternity leave.
I love
Like,
that.
That
awesome.
is so huge.
Oh, I think it's awesome.
That is like that is so
It
important.
is.
Not only like for the women, but like for the
For
men.
them. Because
yeah.
I feel like, we
Like-
was talking about the second shift. They're working this second
Exactly.
shift when they come home too. Because now you're like,
Exactly.
oh, he's home. I can stop everything. And now they have to pick up,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's their child too. At the end of the day,
that it's true.
so like I feel like they should be able to, have that time and that just the time really,
Yeah.
the time to spend with not only the child but their partner.
Yeah.
And it's just like, 2 weeks. Like, no, that's not fair.
Yeah. I do feel like that is probably one of the biggest downfalls in the military and even the patriarchy system. I don't feel like they see men as human beings sometimes. They
Oh,
just
we
treat
just
y'all like,
Warfighters.
yeah, just
Yeah,
numbers. Like, y'all don't have feelings. So,
Yeah,
like,
we
the fact that it took this long for paternity leave for men is crazy. Like,
I mean, we actually had this conversation the other day, and talking in the sense of like, all right, cool, man, you get 6 weeks off or 12 weeks off now. That's a whole quarter. So I wouldn't expect to make rank this year. Like, this is conversations that they're feeding these young
Yeah.
men not to take their leave all at once because they're
scaring
like,
them.
because you're gonna you're gonna lose a whole quarter. So I wouldn't really expect to make rank this year because you just
That's
lost a
true.
quarter. You may not get another award for the rest of the year. It's gonna mess up your year for an annual.
Wow.
So yeah, it's probably not gonna happen this year. Like that's the line that they're feeding. A lot of higher
That's
supervision feeding. So like a
horrible.
lot of these dudes are like breaking it up into like 15 little things, or they take it all well later in the year, or like taking it in little chunks, and it's like just instead of just being at home with their wife and their
Yeah.
kid and being able to spend time with them and build that relationship. So it's a shame.
I have a question. Do they not have, because I know like for women when you go through pregnancy or miscarriage or sexual assault, we can go through an EPR period. I forgot the name of it, where like basically the EPR doesn't count against you. Like it's not good or bad. Like basically you have a pause. Do they have that for men for paternity leave or anything like that?
I think
No,
so.
they don't.
So that's why they're
Yeah.
feeding them. That's why they're feeding y'all this line, because like we have that protection whenever we're going through.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Me either.
Yeah, it's not a
Never.
referral EPR. It's another word for it. But like it doesn't go against your history. It shows that like you went through something. Usually it's sexual assault or like a death in the family or pregnancy, and like this EPR doesn't count against you because like it's not your fault that you couldn't perform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could see why they're saying that to men. But it just again is refilling that generational curse of like basically you have to sacrifice this to be a man of your family, like sacrifice your family, spending time with your wife, bonding with your kids. Your kids are going to resent you because you never are home and their mom's doing everything. Like
But
it
then-
just gets deeper.
But that's the point, is that they're like, yeah, but you're the guy, like you're the breadwinner. Your job is to make money, and that's it. Like that's where it's
That's that generational
it's-
curse.
it just beat to death, and it's like
That's horrible.
you have literally supervision being like, do you want to make rank, or do you want to be a good parent? Your choice.
That's
And
horrible.
that's the key, is potentially.
So,
So
I can
we-
still risk losing it all, literally.
So we've come up to where there's a whole term. It's called like paradoxical. Whatever.
Paradoxical.
Shift.
I think I saw that.
Like a paradigm shift?
No. It's basically talking about how like they're building optimal output out of minimal workers.
Mm-hmm.
So basically saying like, by constantly dangling the fact that you can make rank, if you do all this stuff every year, we're gonna constantly keep producing. So for a maybe, not even a guarantee. Like it used to be a lot more guaranteed, where
It
you had a better
was.
chance of making rank, right? No, it's not anymore. It's where like now we go up for a board that basically goes, yeah,
I ran a board of chiefs and colonels
yeah,
for that.
I've never met you,
Yeah.
have never know your work
Probably
ethic.
Don't know your
even
work
work
ethic,
your
yeah.
career field.
Yep, and they're gonna be like, nah, he's not ready. Nah, he's not ready. Nah, he's not ready. But then we'll promote some random person who we kissing ass all year, and everybody
Yeah.
up above knows who they are, and they can vouch for him
Yeah.
or her.
Because they've been in
And-
all these rooms.
I don't agree with the way that the military does the whole promotion system thing. I feel like it's just I just don't agree with it, because no matter what, you can do everything that people say that you're supposed to do. You can go to school, you can do the volunteer stuff, you can do this, that, and a third to set yourself up and make your package look stellar.
Still not.
But you didn't get an award this year, so you're not getting put
we
up.
didn't self-recognize.
No way.
Like,
Yeah.
I
That's the
have
shit that I
troops.
cannot stand.
I have troops that have killed it. I'm putting my troops up for this, that, and the third. My troops have this award. My troops have that award. But just because I didn't get an award for me personally,
Growing your troops.
I
Mhm.
don't like. I'm doing for my people, but because I didn't take a moment to be selfish, I'm not considered, and I just
And
don't
the
agree
people
with
that
it.
back that stuff and want to be like, yeah, man, that's just how it is. Like, you need to do a better job self-recognizing yourself. Like, I'm like, you literally how dumb that sounds. Like, I have to self-promote myself when you should be promoting me, just like I'm promoting my people. That's how
Yeah.
this fucking
Yeah,
works.
who's supposed to write my APR?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Or
so
you.
so that's why I get so sick. But that's how the military has basically figured out how to make us do optimal output, very minimal people. So we're always constantly, every year we have to outdo the previous year. So for a maybe. So it's like you can do 10 years of busting your ass continuously, volunteering, schoolwork, building this giant fucking, everything you have to do with your job and categorizing it to perfection.
Yeah, but you
And
didn't
never
have
make-
wing level involvement.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
So you
Better luck next year.
Better luck next year. That's
Just
the
do that
conversation.
next year,
And then
it'll
your
be fine.
supervision, their response is, yeah, man, we don't really know how the board works, so I don't know, man. Like, maybe we'll try to do this next
Or
year.
my favorite is, oh, your stuff was really good, but
But this guy got
this
90.
person
He
had.
got 0.2 better on his
That was
PT
literally the
test, so-
feedback that I got this year.
They win more TDYs than you. So, because you had stuff going on with your family, so because you had to stay home for a pregnancy, yeah, so we're gonna put them up above you because they win more TDYs than you. Like just nonsense like that. It does not it rubs me wrong. I do not agree with it at all.
And people complain about it over and over again, but it's like, okay, we're sitting here, we're complaining about it, we're talking about it, but like, who's actually gonna do something to fix it? It's gonna take us to be able to like make that change.
We're gonna have to unionize.
But then, but then, you find those individuals, and it's most of the time, it's, that older generation who is still serving, where they're like, well, nope, this is how it's been.
Yeah.
So this is how we're keeping
They're
it.
already at that.
Yeah, when you're already at the top, it's really easy to look down on everybody.
Yeah. Poor baby.
Y'all been out of shape. Well, on that note, we'll probably take a break and we'll be right back with the Rick and Rob Show.
All right.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Rick and Rob Show. We have continuation to our wonderful topics here. I guess I'll start us off with a new question. How do you handle criticism or setbacks in particular male-dominated spaces?
Number one, don't show your emotions. Don't show sadness, fear, angry. Don't show none of that.
The straight-faced killer over there.
That's it. Like, yeah, that's number one. So as soon as you do,
I feel like it depends on the male.
Yeah.
Because, like, depending on how you give me that criticism is how I'm going to respond to it. Like, I'm never going to respond, I'm not going to say never, but I try not to respond in a negative light, especially if I'm getting criticism from a male. But most of the time, most of my criticism has come from men. And, like, I'll ask specifically for criticism from specific men that I view, because, like, one of my mentors is a man. And I'll ask him all the time, like, what do you think how do you think I could be doing better, or this, that, and the third. Whereas, like, I'll have other male counterparts that will try to give me criticism, or they'll offer it, and I'm like, no, not really.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on the person. But, I mean, if somebody's just giving it to me without me having to, like, ask for it,
Unsolicited,
and then it really just depends on what the criticism is, because depending on what it is and the topic, I may or may not agree with it. And if I don't agree with it, then I'm gonna challenge that, but also in a respectful way. So it just depends, really.
My answer is a kind of a combination of both of theirs. And because, unfortunately, like, we kind of do have, like, a biased perspective of men in the military, my response doesn't always help, but I usually approach with, like, a more of a psychological approach. And depending on the man, like you said, like, their position of authority, or, like, what they're known for, their attitude, their energy towards women or people in general, especially if they're shorter than me, I'm always standing up, like, because you're going to talk up to me. Like, it depends. Like, if I feel like they're trying to intimidate me, like, I'll exert some of those psychological things. But a lot of the times, like, I question, if I know their intentions are pure, I'll reverse it back. I'm like, okay, thank you for that. Like, how do you think you can help me get there? What would you do if you were me? If they can't offer me anything, I know you just came to me to run your fucking mouth, and you didn't really want to help me. You just wanted to critique me. So, and most men, they like to be of service and help. They like to feel like they had a value in some type of success. So I'll flip it back on them if, like, they're giving me some type of criticism. Like, okay, thank you for telling me that. Like, what would you do in my position? How would you change this? What would you do differently?
I like that. I feel like it really puts you on the spot too, because then you'll be able to tell, like you said, if he's just talking shit or if he really wants to help you succeed.
Yeah.
Because most guys be like, man, I wasn't really expecting a follow-up question.
They usually aren't.
All right, well, give me some time. Let me think about that, and I'll get back.
I'll send you a detailed email tomorrow.
Basically. I'm like, okay. And if I know that they don't have an answer, like, oh, that's your job, NCO, or you should be figuring that out. I'm like, okay, well, clearly you're the wrong leader to be giving me criticism. What leader do you think I should talk to, man or woman? I'll wait. And then the conversation is over.
Yeah. Shut them down. I like it.
Yeah, it really depends. And some criticism is constructive. Like, I do think there are some men that, like, see that potential in you that you probably don't even see. And they're like, I need to be that guy or that leader to, like, give you that, because no one else is. They just want to see you fail. So if I sense that, then, like, I'm definitely going to take it and, like, run with it. And, like, I'm going to gravitate towards that particular male person if I feel like it is pure intentions. I do think some men, like, they do like us being there, and they want us to make that change. They don't want to be the one to make the change, whether it's because of, like, a divide or something. So, like, oh, this is the one, so I'm about to go to her and, like, instill this in her, you know? So I appreciate those challenges.
It always makes me feel good when a man comes to me and asks me for criticism or ask me for my opinion about certain situations. Most of the time, I'm not gonna say most of the time, but there has been times where, especially involving another woman, you know, they don't necessarily know how to handle the situation, so they'll come to me and be like, oh, well, how do you think I should handle this? Or, you know, how do you think I should go about this? And it always makes me feel good, because I'm like, okay, well, they feel vulnerable enough to come to me as a man, and they feel like I'm independent or strong enough to be able to guide them in that direction. It's just a good feeling.
Yeah. What about you guys? How do y'all feel when y'all go to women with criticism, or if they come to you, higher or lower ranking? Or does that happen often?
When I was stationed at Herbert Field years ago. This was, almost a decade ago now. I had a female troop, KB. She was a maintainer. So being a female in a male-dominated career field is already, it was difficult for her, right? And so her and I, we would talk one-on-one about that, about how to be perceived as better, and how to actually get where she wanted to get. And we were deployed one time. She's great troop. She's phenomenal. Shout out KB. Thanks for being awesome. Yeah, she sewed on senior airman over there, so she wanted me to tack her on. We were all in OCPs, of course. And so instead I just said, take the stripe off, give it to me, and then I'm just going to give you that one, and you can put it on. I don't want to cross any boundaries, you know, because I didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable. And sitting down with her afterwards and talking about it, and I'm like, you got to be a lion out there, KB. You got to be a lion. Get the shit done, because I know you can, and you have been. And I miss KB. She's doing good. She's a tech now.
Dang.
So good for her. Seeing her grow and her promotions and awards and everything, it gave me happiness too, because I'm like, you really can do it. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I had a
go ahead.
I had a kind of similar experience. Like my first, so when I first got to my first base, he was my flight chief, and then he became my supervisor, because we then went from working flight to working the training section. So he became like direct supervisor. And this man, literally, that's why I said one of my mentors is a man, because it's him. But he helped me more, not even on a professional standpoint, but like a personal standpoint. Like there was a time in my life where I was just like going through it, like mentally, and he like stepped in and was like, hey, like what can I do to help you get to where you want to be? And you know, he PCS'd and then I PCS'd, but so much so, like he texted me, because we still communicate, and invited me to his wedding. And I'm like, and he was like, yeah, you know, I talk to you, I talk about you, like, to my partner and everything, and we always laugh about all these stories, about, like, just random things that had happened, like, in the office or whatever, and I still, like, it, you know, let him know about my life, like, now. I think, literally, when I went on my little Malta trip, I, like, sent him pictures and was like, look where I'm at, like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it just feels so good to, like, have that mentorship, and it doesn't always have to be from a female's perspective. Like, you can have those male mentors that impact you in a positive light.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think my experience is I don't think a lot of women that have worked under me or around me understand, or I want to say understand, or like expected like how much I expect out of them. Like, I don't play around. Like, if I want you to succeed, like, you're gonna succeed. Like, that's everyone who works under me succeeds, period. And I feel like the biggest conversation I've had is they're like, why do you seem like you pick on me more? It's in their words, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not picking on you. I'm telling you, you are already at a disadvantage in a male-dominated career field. Like, you have to be tough out here. Like, you have to be able to stick up for yourself and tell people what you want. You can't just hide and not communicate what's going on. Like, like he said, you gotta be a lion out there. You gotta be tough. Like, you gotta understand that, like, I'm on the same side as you, and I'm gonna be hard on you. But I promise you, in the end, you're gonna be more dominant than anybody out here. Ain't nobody gonna talk shit to you, and nobody gonna talk shit to you to begin with because you're already underneath me. Like, I got your back. Like, this is my job, and that goes for all my troops and all the people I work with. Like, nobody talks shit to my shift. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, use the way that I think to your advantage. Like, let me teach you things, and let me help you get to where you need to get. Like, but like I said, I feel like I get a lot of pushback at the beginning, where they're like, man, this guy's kind of a dick. Like, what is his problem? Like, why does he seem like he always on top of every little thing for no reason? But there's a reason. I promise you, in the long run, while you're just outdoing everybody around you, and you're in your head working at half the pace as everybody, but you're still faster than everybody, you're gonna be like, wow, I'm so glad that he spent the time to just continuously pound this routine and ways you think into my head. And all my troops make rank, all my troops win rewards, all my troops are successful, like, and that's what I thrive on. And I agree, a good supervisor, and I always say, my job is not to make you a better airman. There's plenty of AFIs and plenty of things to teach you how to be a better airman. My job is to make you a better person.
Yeah.
Because this isn't going to be forever. You're eventually going to hit at the end of the road. And if you're a dirtbag at the beginning and nobody mentored you to be better, you're going to be a dirtbag at the end.
Yeah.
So I'm here to make you a better person. And that's how I always am. Especially when it comes to females, you need to see that I'm on your side. I'm going to help you. You just got to understand that not everybody takes the soft approach to approaching you about certain topics.
Like, do you have that talk with them, though? Like, like one-on-one? Like, this is why I'm like this, or why this is happening?
Yes. I mean, I have to do it with my male troops.
Yeah. I mean, it's the feedback sessions, Yeah,
I feel like, what I'm saying is just like, a lot of them are like, this guy's fucking insane. Like, what is his problem? But ask Rick when he first met me. Like,
I thought he was just a fucking dick, and I'm like, great, he's a tech, we're gonna have to work together, he's the team chief, I'm expediting, so I'm above him, but we're the same ranks. It's like,
we're just gonna bump heads continuously.
And then
He
we
does it to me.
Oh.
Yeah, I think those conversations are important, and like I said, if you are like developing your women troops, like understanding that it makes a huge difference versus them just seeing you as being this hard ass, because there is power in like a male leader coming to you and like, I see the potential in you and I want you to be great, so I'm putting this energy into you. You could have put this energy into any other troop. I mean, you should treat all your troops the same, but like you said, there are some dirtbags and there are some people that you see the potential to change and lead, and that's where your energy may go to, and they need to understand, like, that's why. If I heard it in that way, I would take it more serious versus than someone coming up to me with a bunch of critiques and a bunch of problems and no solutions, no whys, no answers for why you're being a jerk. Yeah,
no, I agree. I mean, following up is definitely super huge. Like, if you're not doing that, like, you're messing up as a leader.
Definitely.
Like, you want feedback from your people, right? So it's not just one way. Like, I shouldn't be just giving feedback to them. They should be giving feedback to me.
Definitely.
Both
Do
sides,
they? Do they give you feedback?
Yeah.
Do they be like, you're this, you're that, or I
no,
hate
they're
this?
not done. They're not going to say that to me, but they're going to say your approach on how you may give criticisms, or your approach on how you handle things may be a little over the top, and I'll explain to them, well, there's a reason why that I am that way. There's a reason why I have to be that way, because if not, you're not going to grasp what I'm trying to teach you.
Yeah, and none of it comes from a place of malice.
No, none of it. Like, because there's definitely situations where, like, if you mess up, you could get crushed, like, be dead, like, instantly. So it's like, no, like, you need to focus. You need to pay attention to exactly what I'm telling you, and not deviate from what we're doing.
Gotcha.
So, like, there's just certain areas, right? But, like, being a good leader is learning how to adapt to a situation. It can't be like that towards everything.
Yeah.
But during certain situations or high-stake environments, or where there's aircraft coming up and down and people all over the place, I got to be the way I got to be, because that's the most direct, focused way to talk to somebody so that they can comprehend what I'm telling them.
Yeah.
But a lot of people take that as I'm being negatively towards them, or I'm criticizing them, or I don't think highly of them. That's never the case. It's like, no, this is how I have to communicate to you, because if not, there might be a chance of deviation, and you're going to mess up and something's going to happen. That's not what I want. I want you to be okay and go home and see your family. That's what I want.
Too many moving pieces.
Too many moving pieces, and especially when we get into positions that we be in where we're managing 30 people all at the same time. Aircraft are coming up and going down all at the same time.
Yeah.
There's loading action going on at the same time. maintenance happening, people up 15 feet up in the air on aircraft, like, continuously, all the time.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, it's all on our shoulders to manage all of that and make sure everybody goes home okay every night. You know, it's just normal. But then you get used to it. So then you have to be a certain way to be able to communicate and get your point across all the time. So it's hard because you have to be a certain, maybe in my case, really a person that I don't really like to be, but that's the best way for me to communicate with everybody on the same plane, the same level all the time.
Mm.
Just one of those things. I guess we can move on to another question because I have nothing more to add to that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I just rambled on there. How do you think the representation of women in the military affects your choices or personal expression? So like how people see women in the military, like how it makes you act, I guess you should say. So like people say women in the military are a certain type of women, or are a certain kind of way, so like does it affect your choices?
Yes.
Yes,
I
it
think,
does.
especially security forces.
Yeah.
So, people don't. I must say, like civilians and other people we come across don't respect us as cops as much as they do men. So I feel like we have to be like harder. You
Yeah.
know,
You
like
have
we
to work harder.
Yeah. Not even work hard. Just like say like you pull somebody over, like I'm not smiling at them just
Yeah.
because like
They're not gonna take
you
it.
need to know
It's all
I'm
black and white.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Just all
you're not
business.
gonna take me as a joke.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna let you have that option.
Do you feel like men
You know.
can smile and get away with it and still do their job?
Yes,
But okay, that sucks.
definitely. Yes.
Dang.
Yeah.
And then especially like other military people, I feel like they don't respect us as cops either as much as they do
The men.
the men.
That is true.
I can see. I've heard comments like, it was literally the other day. I was like the lead patrol on shift, and we had to go to like detail some of the vehicles, like sanitize them and everything. And one of the civilian, he might have just been like a counterpart from the other forces, but he was basically just like we were having a conversation just about like the vehicles and everything, and he was just kind of like asking me how I like the job and if it's difficult and stuff like that. But then he made a comment because he was like, oh, like how long have you been here? And I was like, well, I got here in October, but like I didn't actually start working until December. And he was like, oh, they got you out here as the lead. And I was like, well, I'm an NCO, like
Right? Like,
yeah, like why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And he was just like, oh, and like his response was just kind of like geared towards, like he just kind of made me feel like, oh, he felt like that because I was a woman.
Mm.
But I'm like, first of all, this isn't my first time doing LE.
Yeah.
Second of all, like I've been in long enough, like I know what I'm doing. And thirdly, like it shouldn't matter if I'm a male or, a woman, like it doesn't,
Right.
that shouldn't be a factor in how I'm perceived. So like, because I am perceived that way, I feel like I have to always fight harder, or I'll have to always take that extra step to be at the same level as my counterparts.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like it should be like that.
So my question is, what did you say to him? Did you bring it up to him?
I mean, I just was like, I said, oh yeah, like I'm the ranking NCO. Like that's why I'm the lead patrol.
Yeah.
And he just, which he wasn't a cop, so I didn't want to like give too much lingo because like he wouldn't have necessarily understood.
Yeah.
And he also wasn't American.
But I mean,
Which makes a huge.
You have to pick your battles.
Yeah, so I
Which
just
is
kind of was like,
understandable.
oh, like this is kind of why, and then we just like left it at
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I was just like, yeah, no, I don't feel like fighting this fight today.
It's interesting you said that because y'all both said yes, y'all feel like, it does change your views or perspectives. And then, like, for me, it's no, but I think that's only because of, like, me personally, like, my views and stuff, but also my career field. And I was telling Jazz and Rob the other day, like, there was a women's leadership panel. I wish you could have went. I wish all y'all could have went. I was really happy that some men did come, to like, get an understanding and some insight. But there was a woman who was on the panel. I think she's a senior master sergeant. I don't know. But she's security forces. And I never knew this was a thing in maintenance and security forces. But she was like, as a woman, you know that you fit in 3 categories. Like, everybody in the security forces know this. And it's the bitch, the lesbian, or the slut.
Yep.
I was like, is this fucking for real? Like, are we in the same Air Force?
I got
like,
told that as a brand new airman.
And one of the other security forces girl in the you know, not the panel, but in the audience said the same thing. And like, you know, even though we're all women, we do have different battles in the military that we're fighting, because I don't relate to that. And I'm like, the fact that a brand new airman coming in hears that and is like, that's normalized.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine if they came from a household that was already like really, you know, strict, or like, what's the word, sheltered, and like they already had a like ingrained mindset, and like it's just reinstilling that this is how women should be treated, and they're gonna bring kids into the world. Like, it was just so sad. And like that security forces woman on the panel, she talks about how like the like your question, like the perspective of men, how like it judged and like jaded her whole perspective as a woman, personally and professionally. Like, she came into the military, she liked Taylor Swift, she'll be playing it on shift, and they'd be like, oh, this bitch fucking sucks, Taylor Swift is horrible, and she stopped playing Taylor Swift for the rest of her life. She liked pink nails, and her supervisor's like, why you got pink nails? She was like, because the AFI said I can't. She's like, nobody cares about that, it's ugly, take them off. And she's like, okay. She never wore pink nails ever again. And she said it wasn't until she was like freaking 28 years old that she was like, I want to wear makeup today. I want to paint my nails pink. I want to listen to whatever. She stopped listening and validating the opinions of men. But those things do matter. But to answer your question, for me, it doesn't affect anything, because it's like, I know who I am at the end of the day. I know that there's some things that are just out of my control, which is people's ideologies, their theories. What's in my control is how I respond to those things. But like I said, like, we have 2 different fights. And just because like I'm at security forces doesn't mean that like I wouldn't stand up for those things if I heard it. If it was like in my everyday life, that's not okay to me. And I think, you know, those people are slowly getting out the military. And for me, it's just like, I live in my own world. And I do like to stand up for people and things that are right. So when I hear those things about like how you are as a woman performing, how you should overperform, and this and that, it's like, I know who I am at the end of the day. I need to be able to sleep at night being happy with Asia, not with who you want me to be, who I should be, what you think women need to be in the workforce. And that's what I want to instill in my friends. And like my daughter, if she were to come in, I don't want her being punked into being something that she's not.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
Because the people in the military will definitely do that.
Crazy. And when I felt so bad when I heard that, I was like, I feel like I've been living under a rock. Because like she was the only security forces person out there, but there were security forces girls in the audience and some maintainers, and they were like, yep, I'm the lesbian, I don't even like girls. Like, they just put you in this box as a woman because like, I guess that's the only places y'all can go. You just can't be a good woman, you just can't be a good leader, and good leaders are seen as bitches in maintenance and security forces, which I hate. And kind of like the same thing you said, she was saying like some of her male counterparts like coddling her, and they were like, you have to do this or the men are going to run over you, they're going to crush you. I'm like, doing this to make you better. And you know, she had a good point. She was like, you know, what are you doing to change that with the men that you're working with? Like, instead of instilling me to be this tough person, like, how are you going to make it better for us? Like, are all of us going to be this big, bad, green monster? Like, or can we just be women and be good at our job?
Yeah, because men, that's how we solve our issues. Like, men have to be intimidating. We have to intimidate other men. Like, that's just engraved in kind of how we work in the environment we work in.
Yeah.
So, like, when we're trying to bring women into it and try and be like, that's how we know to be like, this is how you'll be successful against other men. Like, but like you said, you guys have to put your perspective on it and the way that you need to do it to be successful.
Yeah.
Like, it's not always just the way that we are engraved in our heads to do it.
Yeah.
Our way of how we learn to be successful where we work.
Yeah.
Because we have to be that way, especially as maintainers, we have to be that way. Like, we have to be hard on each other. We have to be very, I guess, outspoken when it comes to certain issues and stuff like that. Because if not, it'll never get fixed. Things will never change. People will walk all over other people. People will not respect other people. You know, it's just how it is. And it's a shame that we have to bring it up and teach that way, but it doesn't need to be that way always.
Yeah. That's a good question.
Good. Glad you liked it. Put some effort in it. How about this one? How do you think societal norms and expectations have influenced your journey and choices you have made? So how do you think society, like how it's evolving today, has developed you to make certain choices that you've made so far in your career or life?
So personally and professionally?
Yes. Like, you think how society is changing has really made you make, I guess, crazier decisions that you would have made, or different decisions you would have made if society wasn't changing or moving the way it's been moving.
I feel like this is one of the discussion forum questions for one of my classes.
It probably is.
Yeah.
That's where I got it from.
I think, like one of y'all said earlier, social media is so dangerous.
Yes.
Like,
I think social media is literally one of the, as we're using social media, but I think it is one of the biggest contributors to poor mental health and poor expectations of people's lives than ever before.
Yeah.
I think it is truly putting people on the ground.
It is. It's not their own original thoughts and values. And
No.
I've been guilty of it for a very short period of my life. But to answer your questions, I think from a personal standpoint, society did impact like how I wanted to show up in relationships in life. Like for the longest, that big independent woman was like being pushed. That narrative was out there. And it's like, you know, and even my dad, he kind of raised me that way, even though like my parents, they're kind of traditional. And like my dad, even from a young age, and like I had talks about it now, like I'm a daddy's girl, we're really close. But from a young age, he was just like, you know, teaching me how to cook, clean, all these things at like fucking 7 years old, 6 years old. And I'm just like, why am I doing these things? And he was just like, because if you don't know how to work or keep a job, you need to know how to be a good wife. And I'm like, okay, I guess. And those are like beneficial traits to have. But like, as a little girl, you're telling me my only option is to like basically be a wife or know how to fend for myself. Like I can't have both. So like, I feel like at one point society, was a detriment to like how I wanted to show up. And like I realized in relationships, like you can be boss babe, Miss Independent, and you can still have your Prince Charming. There's a balance. You can still respect men without having to push this narrative that, you know, you're the prize and the glory. You are the prize, and so are men. Like we need each other.
Yes.
And for a while in my mind, I was just like, men are useless. They're like a distraction. They can be a distraction, but like, you know, it's the men you surround yourself with. Not all men are trash. Not all men are scrubs. Not all men are going to use their power over you and abuse you with their privilege and their money or their power. It's what you bring to the table as a woman and what you allow in your life. And professionally, society, I think just in the Air Force, like they make it seem like as women, like we are powerful, like in the military compared to like civilian. I don't want to make it seem like they're any less than, but like we are paving waves that like other jobs in the civilian world are not doing. We're making it a safe place for women to come in. Like it was normalized for hazing for women and sexual assaults and all these things and being battered and isolated in environments. And like it was like that in the civilian world too, but in the military, like I could not imagine y'all bring little Lilani in this world and she's in another country and something happened to her and she can't even call you guys or talk to y'all. Like, you know, that's not the standard anymore. So society has definitely like made me more like hard on that. Like I'm definitely involved and passionate about making a change. If I do anything in the military, I don't care about my job. I don't care about the people. It's taking care of like the younger generation and women for sure.
Agreed. Yep, I definitely agree.
What's y'all answers?
That's a tough one to follow.
It was like a 2-part question.
Sorry about that.
It's a good question though.
I said, how do you think societal norms and expectations influenced your journey and the choices you've made? So, in a sense, how do you think society, the way that their things are pushing onto us as people, has changed your choices so far in your life? Personal and professional. Or professional, whatever one you really want to talk about.
I think for me, it's more of like, because I also agree with the fact that social media can be very just persuasive in a lot of different aspects. But then in other aspects, it's given me the knowledge and the light to be able to view things in a different manner. So, I mean, it has its pros and its cons. And sometimes it really just depends on the person to be able to filter out those pros and cons, because if you're just easily persuaded by, you know, certain things, you're going to just take whatever somebody says and think that that's the way that you should live your life. But that's not always the case. Like, you have to be able to pick and choose what you should and shouldn't do. And I think that that's things that I've kind of started to incorporate in my life, where, you know, I'll see things and be like, dang, like, I never really thought about it this way. Maybe I should start doing that. Or, you know, I'll have that discussion with my people and be like, do you do this? And then try to start being more mindful of how I approach different situations with different people.
True.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Just trying to use it for like a beneficial aspect rather than a negative light.
Good.
I don't think societal norms really affect me as much as military norms, quote unquote. You know, like, you know, it's hard to explain.
That's a good distinction though, because they're two different norms for sure.
Yeah. Because as far as like societal, I don't care. Like, I never have like cared, but then it's like once I joined the military, I felt like the norms, quote unquote, that were pushed on me made me a different person. And I had to like get out of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Sense, yeah.
I think me knowing Jazz, like, she's definitely in her own little world. She has her own rules and standards, her own monarchy.
Yeah.
So I can see how, like, what you're saying is true.
Iron fist.
Yeah. Like, it hasn't always been like, so it's always been like that, but then I was in the military, like when I first joined, it changed me, and then like,
In what ways?
just the person I am, the people like I would hang around with.
You wouldn't hang around with anymore?
No.
So you feel like it elevated you in a sense?
No.
No?
Well,
it just changed. It's not a good or bad change. It just changed.
I feel like I'm better now. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a better person now than I was, but yeah.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Get out. Get out. What about you guys, though? Societal norms.
Honestly, I feel like as men, as white men, we are in this whirlwind right now with societal norms, right? Like, it is super okay to just demonize white men. Like, it's okay to be open about it. And like, I feel like we catch a lot of flack, yes. A lot of flack as being racist individuals, or being people who don't understand, or we just ride in the high top of the, the patriarchy. We don't give a shit about nobody else below us, like, which is not the truth at all.
Yeah, absolutely not the truth. I mean, look at what we're doing here.
Yeah, we wanted this. Like, we talked
trying
about this
to
for a while.
learn.
Yeah, we're trying to learn.
I mean, I even told you, like, seeing you in uniform,
it
looks like you are that racist white guy. Like, you just look like that's what you are. And even, like, even though that's not right, but it's like, even people you work with, when they find out you have a black wife, they're like, oh, really?
Yeah, I get that quite a bit.
Like, you do?
It's like that very often.
I give it to him a lot.
And like, it's not
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
But
I mean, unfortunately, there are still, like, white men that do have certain values and norms that, like, clearly are not the same anymore. Like, there are white people that are trying to make a difference and change and not have these 18th century standard point of views on, like, other races and stuff. So, like, you guys do make up a good percentage of men that are making that change. But there are some, I mean, same for black people or other races, that there's some people who are really ignorant, or they see themselves as the superior race, and that's where we all...
You're just flipping the spectrum in the complete opposite direction.
Yeah, that whole superior race thing, I think that's where humanity falls short, because at the end of the day, we're all humans. And that's been my stance
We definitely
for a long time.
I just think some people don't see it that way.
No, they all think that the reason why we're here is because of us. Like, no, the reason because of all of us. Like, we wouldn't be here if we all didn't collaborate at one point and figure things out. So I just like I was saying, like, I feel like as white men, we catch a lot of flack for no reason, because we don't try to bash anybody else. We don't try to look outside of the box and be like, well, you guys are all garbage except us. Like, that's just not how we are. But I feel like we'll always be looked at that way just because it's now the new comfortable societal norm to blame white men for why things are the way they are. And it's like you said, we're trying to do the opposite. Like, we're trying to show that we want inclusion. We want to hear the voice of everybody.
Equity.
Like, equity is important, Like, I feel like we just get, I don't know, we're trying to, like...
We're trying to change that culture.
Yeah, we're trying to overcome a deficit that doesn't need to be there. It's so hard to
do when it's just us two.
Yeah, like you said, a small percentage.
And the worst part is when we try to defend ourselves and be like, hey, that's not how we think, that, oh, you're just a racist white guy. That's privilege right there to be able to say that. And it's like, I'm not trying to say it. I'm just trying. I'm on your side. I'm agreeing with you. Like, how am I?
So, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, so it's hard. It really is hard, because especially when we're just trying to be inclusive, right? And they're like, oh, you're only doing that because you feel bad. And it's like, no, that's not the case. Like, I really just want to hear other people's thoughts and the way they think. I like that.
I think people have made it so normal to be racist towards white people, or like make white jokes and stuff, than they do for like, you know, other races. Because I feel like even my family, like, they'll say little white jokes, you know. But if you were to say something like to them,
I'd rather get beaten.
yeah, it'd be like whoa,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah, that is. It's the same in my family. Like a lot of, I'm not gonna say the men, but a lot of the women in my family kind of do date outside their race. Like it's either white or Hispanic, Mexican, Italian, and it almost seems like it's like initiation hazing treatment when they come into our family.
Yeah.
And I do understand from like the older generations because we weren't alive in the 70s and 50s and 60s, so we will never be able to relate or validate their feelings. Yeah, so they're thinking from a sense of protection, but like we're like we didn't live in that time. We're around people that do appreciate us and love us. They're not saying those ignorant. I mean, there are people that say they're racist, ignorant slurs that they're gonna hold true to their Confederate beliefs, and you know like they're out there. That is true, but like they have to trust that they raise people who would not bring someone like that into their family. But I do hate that it's like that because I feel like when I've dated outside my race, their family do not be treating me like that. Yeah. I mean, I usually get a taste or feel of it before. Like I always ask them, like, you know, how does your people feel about black people? That's my indication. I won't even go near it, and it's not their fault. But like once I hear that their family's like that, we're done. But when I do go to other races, like their family don't treat me like that. They may be curious. They may do some things that they shouldn't do, like try to touch my hair or like, you know, stuff like that. But I don't feel like I'm going through a freaking initiation, fraternity hazing treatment in jail. And you know, but we get to make these jokes towards you guys and like, oh, this is like payback or reparations, like all the stuff y'all did. Like it's not funny, especially if they can't participate in it.
I didn't do it. I didn't condone it at all.
Yeah,
I think it's just so normal for black and brown people to make jokes about other races. Like they've made it seem like it's normal, but knowing that we wouldn't like it if y'all did it, you know?
Yeah. I think for some of us, or black people, I think they're taking advantage of, like, the privilege we have to say that. I wouldn't say it's a privilege because, like, it's coming from oppression and, like, years of not speaking up and talking about how things made us feel. But, like...
But it is somewhat like a privilege.
Yeah, it is a privilege to be able to say these jokes and get away with it. Because, like, the jokes usually are not wrong, but it's just, like, was that appropriate? Right. It's, like, passive-aggressive. Like, if I was like, oh, yes, sir, massa. Like, and everybody's laughing, like, now you know. Right. You know. That was not appropriate.
I always like the jokes they talk about. Like, I don't know how to cook. Like, you don't know how to use seasoning.
Oh, seasoning.
I'll be like, look like you missed a meal a day in your life. So I must be doing something right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'll be seasoning with my heart. Like.
That's the first thing she talks about whenever I met Jazz. She's like, yes, girl, he makes the best seafood boils. Like, all these things. Like, oh, he can cook.
I'll come over for a seafood boil.
Well, we're having one right after the first, so.
Hell yeah, brother, I'll be there.
Hey, I got a crock, or a pot and a burner at my house.
Well, hey, let's come on. Let's go.
Bring the seasonings together.
I got all the Louisiana seasoning you can want.
Oh, yeah, you are from Louisiana.
I didn't want to assume that you knew how to do
it. It's always safe to not assume.
Listen, I feel like
don't follow the societal norm, right?
She could cook. She made some seafood dip because you know I don't eat meat. She be like rotel dip, but seafood.
Yeah.
It was so good. I don't even eat chips, but I was fucking those skills up.
I feel like you can't. I mean, there are some, but I feel like saying you're from Louisiana, I feel like it's a little bit of a disgrace to be like, I can't cook and I'm from the state. Because I feel like a lot of Louisiana, especially like New Orleans area, is known for their food. Yeah. So if you say you're from Louisiana, baby, you better be able to throw down in that kitchen.
Just say you're from a different state if you can't. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't talk.
Where y'all from?
Michigan and Minnesota.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We got more maple
syrup. The water.
But you can cook.
Mm-hmm. So I had to.
It's a good start.
Personal decisions and things I like.
Yeah.
I had no choice. I don't want to fade away.
All right. What's your next question? Or should we put some questions on y'all?
Honestly, yes. I feel like I've asked quite a bit.
All right. Now the women get to ask the questions. Yeah. Ada, you want to go first?
Let me pull up my questions here.
Why do you guys suck? Like, well, let's start off the top.
Why are all men trash?
Yeah.
So, how do you promote gender diversity in the workplace?
My biggest way, right, is I don't show a difference. Like, I treat them the same way as I would treat my male troops. And some people disagree with that, but I think that's the best way, where it's like, But if I'm giving like preferential treatment to the females, be like, you don't got to do the hard jobs. You can do the easy jobs.
Okay.
How does that help them? How does that make them grow and realize that like they are just as equal as everybody else in the workplace? So like I'll be like, hey man, sucks to suck, but we gotta go out there and load. So come on, you gotta go out there and load. And but I'm not gonna continuously give them the hard jobs. I'm gonna give it just like everybody else. So I feel like that's my biggest way, is just making sure that they don't see that I'm favoring them or favoring the men to get easy jobs while they get all the bad jobs, just because I want to prove them wrong. Like there's nothing like that. It's like, hey, you will work just like everybody else and you'll get rewarded just like everybody else. I promise you. But you got to put in the effort. So that's my biggest way I feel like I do that.
That's true. There was a woman that we worked with when I was working with you expediting. It's kind of hard now to promote that diversity in the workplace when I'm so far removed from the squadron. Now I'm the resource advisor, so I don't really oversee anybody or have anything to do with a shop at all. Really. I'm just on my own. But working with, there was one woman we worked with, and she was leaps and bounds better than half of the guys that we worked with. And it was always good seeing her succeed better than the men would. I hope she's doing good now. She's since PCS, but
I'm sure she is.
Yeah, she did get up to load barn, which is like the prestige of being weapons.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like the best of the best.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I noticed that you speak really highly of the women or female troops you work with, which is cool.
Yeah.
You spoke more about them than the men so far. So.
That's because the men are just...
Well, I mean, they're dying for a dozen. You know what I'm saying? For every good one, you got 30 ones that are just out there ready to, get their hands stuck in the door or something. So it's... So, but like when you have very successful females, like it sticks in your brain. Like where you're like, wow, man, she was great. Like she did everything to the best of her ability. Always showed up on time. Never complained. Never gave pushback. Never tried to play the I can't do that because I'm a female card. She does everything she needs to do, and she was always successful. And you always made sure that everyone knew she was good at what she did, which was awesome. All right, so like I said, like it sticks in your brain because, like I said, men are dying for a dozen. For every good one, there's a ton of bad ones. So and vice versa, there'll be a ton of good ones, there'll be a few bad ones. Like you see a lot more male on a daily basis. So it's just nice when you actually see females who are very, very short in supply when it comes to these male-dominated career fields be very successful amongst their peers. That's pretty awesome.
That's a good question.
That was.
Yeah.
I have some pretty deep questions, but I'm going to start with a lighter one. If you were a woman for a day in a woman's body, what would you do? Be completely honest.
I wouldn't leave the house.
Damn. Why?
I'd be too busy exploring.
Okay.
Every guy's answer. That is the true answer for every guy.
I believe that, but who knows? They may want to go to a bar. They may want to walk down a valley by themselves. I want to know. What would you want to do?
Honestly, I'm not really sure what I'd do. I don't know, probably go shopping. Like, give me some dresses and stuff.
And
so.
then I would just get upset at all the stores because they have my size, but it doesn't fit me correctly. And then like, fuck, now I gotta go somewhere else.
Now
I think I'd just spend the day upset with outlets.
Do you think that's how women are? Spend the day upset?
No, why? Not spending the day just generally upset, but upset at different things, especially... gosh, my wife ordered something recently and she put it on and she was like, this is my size, but it's the fucking UK size, so it doesn't fit.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I just wear gym shorts. No.
So this being said, does Jazz switch to be a guy and I be the girl?
Sure. Do you want to do it like
that?
No,
I'm saying it's because I'm saying it's because I'll just do what she does. I'll immediately just be like,
no, I don't want to.
Rub my feet.
I don't want to.
I don't like how you said that. Oh, okay, whatever. Like,
I do not want to imagine you guys.
I'm not upset. You're the one who's making me upset, but I'm not upset though. Yeah, I'll do that all day.
Okay, I have a deeper question.
Okay.
It's a 2-part question. What ways do you guys feel like you still benefit from the patriarchy system, and what traditions do you feel like should have been kept, like to normalize this gender divide and these things that are going on?
Traditions that should have been kept.
Yeah, like there's a lot of them that are not normalized anymore.
Yeah.
My bad.
You're fine. I feel like the patriarchy is still alive and well, and I feel like it's going to take our generation and even the generation that comes after us to completely eradicate that way of thinking, because you've got all these old heads sitting up in Congress and whatnot. I'm still not getting into politics, right?
I don't, but
Okay?
how about that?
I'm just saying that there's a very early generation that's still sitting up there that basically is controlling everything we do.
Mhm.
And until we, our generation or the next, get up there and take over and start making it so that we promote equality and equity, I don't think we can make the changes that we want yet.
Yeah.
So I guess just being a white male currently in today's day and age, I am still benefiting from the patriarchy, even though I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the day that it falls.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, I feel like we don't have to do much. Like, it's just naturally going on around us. It's not like we gotta like put in our donations every month. Like, you know,
I like when you say it like
yeah,
that.
you've been bounced from the club, dude. Get out. Like, it's not like that. Like, it's just there, I guess. And we just are kind of living in a life. But the fact that we were able to identify that it is a poor system for everybody is a step in the right direction.
That's true. I think a lot of people have the blinders on. Where
Yeah,
they're
they're
like,
lying.
well, it doesn't concern me, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep
Definitely.
living my life.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't need to bring it up. I don't need to talk about it. Like, those are the people who are failing their peers.
I believe
Yeah.
education is the number one
True.
proponent.
I
to
feel like the education has
overthrow
failed.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm saying if you educate yourself on what's going on with the patriarchy,
You
then
can't
I
be blind
believe
anymore.
Yeah, beyond,
you cannot.
be-
Yeah, you'll take
beyond
those
social
blinders
media.
off.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. Do not let social media dictate your life.
Yeah.
Unless it's TikTok.
Girl. Well, like, what ways do you what was the question? What ways?
You think traditions that should have stayed
Yeah,
from
because
the
I
patriarchy?
remember we had a talk. Remember a while ago we took your pictures on the beach and we had a deep talk about like the masculine and feminine roles and like how things have changed and
We
like,
did?
girl,
Pregnancy brain.
you were there the whole time.
Yeah.
We
Should
were
have
talking
been
about
on
like
the beach.
yeah, and like how the roles have switched and how I think you mentioned, and if I'm wrong, correct me. You're like, you feel like there's a failure in like the new men of generation that are coming up and like how they approach dating and women, like how they're being not respected or emasculated because they're not showing up like as men.
Mhm.
And we talked about some certain traditional things, like what, even though like patriarchy system, it did benefit women to an extent, just not as much as men. What traditions do you feel like should have been kept?
Well, personally, I do agree that men need to be masculine. They need to be men. Like, we are here to protect and look out, and not saying that women can't protect or look out for their peers or their people that their family and whatnot. I'm not saying that's not possible, but I'm saying, but as men, like, that's our job. Like, we are the hunters. We are the protectors. That's what we do. And like, you need to have that mentality. Like, you need to be, I like better. You need to be a monster sometimes. You need to be able to do what it takes to protect the people you love and care about. And you need to show that to the women in your life and the people that you love and care about.
Yeah.
That you will do anything to protect them if anybody harms them. And I feel like a lot of men today are quick to be like, nah, new society, I don't need to do that shit no more. Like, they play it off as like, to put down the patriotic system is to not protect the people that they love and care about.
Which is a
And to
huge
not-
difference.
Yes. And it's like, no, it's not what we're saying. Like, protect the people you love, but don't like use that as a power tool to do whatever the fuck you want. Like, that's not how that works. So like, I do also feel like society has given a bad name to women who want to be in the home, who want to be caregivers, who want to be moms.
Yeah.
And I hate that because a lot of women want to do that because they want to be a mom. Like, they love the idea of being a parent more than anything else. Like, that's the career that they want.
They think they just don't want to work.
Mm-hmm.
When
They're
really-
lazy. They think they're fucking not good for society.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
When really, like, it's hard.
It's hard work.
It is hard. Especially when you have multiple kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard being a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You
It
don't
is a
get
full-time job.
time by yourself.
Ever.
You're with somebody 100%. All day, all night.
Yeah.
And that's what I hate is because a lot of women get demonized. Like, no, you need to be out there doing whatever, be in the streets. You be out there running businesses. You need to be doing all this stuff. You need to, you know, he needs to be at home. He needs to be doing that stuff. And it's like no, like it's our home. We should be both doing that. We should be both wanting to take care of our house. We should both want to take care of our kids. But I understand, like, as a man, like, there are certain roles that I need to fill. Like, I'm not going to let you fill those roles because that's me as a man doing that to protect you and my family. Like, I shouldn't be like, oh, no, there's a bump outside. Go outside with a bat, please. Like, that's not how this works. Like,
I wish someone would.
Here I go.
Well, I suppose.
You need to get out the house.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to go. Yeah. I got him last time. Like, yeah. No, I'm going to go down there and crush that fool's head with a bat. Like, that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take the consequences. If somebody touches my kids, I'm going to take the consequences that come from that. And I'll be happy to do that any day. Because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And as a man, and the men, if men aren't thinking like that, they're wrong.
I think the feminist movement, that is something that they probably did mess up with or like instill in women's brains. There's some women that do enjoy being at home, and they made it seem like, I think some men, like you said, and women bash women that want to stay at home because I think they see it as like, oh, you guys fought so hard for these rights, and now you don't want to stay at home. Like, now you want to stay at home. Exactly. And they have to understand that with every movement, there was people that did not want what people were fighting for, and it's okay that they didn't want those things. So I definitely agree with you. What about you, Rob? Rick. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. White guys, we all look alike.
No, it's because she has a necklace that says Richie, but his name is Rob, and so then you said Rick or Rich, so I've just been getting all the R's mixed up. I'm sorry.
Oh, fine.
It's on the board.
I don't know. It's kind of hard for me because I don't really have a lot of ground to stand on here. Like I talked about earlier, Andrea and I basically almost reversed roles, where I'm more of I still go to work during the day and everything, but at night, before she gets home, I'm the homemaker and I take care of all that stuff. So, yeah, I don't really have a lot of ground to stand on. Like, Andrea and I, we communicate well. We're both extremely happy. She comes home, she'll help me out in different things too. So I don't think that there is any traditions that were done away with that should be back.
That's good.
Because like the woman homemaker thing, it's our home. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I look at it as well.
Absolutely,
So I agree.
yeah.
So
Whatever works for you works for you.
Exactly.
Right. And you can't please everybody 100% of the time.
Exactly.
So the feminist movement may have gotten some things wrong for some people, but not everybody. So it's tough.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
You'll never make everybody happy.
That's true.
Jazz, you got a question?
Yeah, what was my question?
Oh, I did write it down for you. That's right, because you forgot.
baby brain kicking is strong.
Oh, her question is, what do you identify as? Black, African, American, African, or like...
Yeah, it's really like,
I guess it's me and you. I think, for me, I just say Black because, like you said, Africans do get offended if we say African. And I understand African American is, politically correct because we are African and American, but we were brought here, like, not by choice.
Yeah.
And I think Black just comes in all shades. When you say African American, someone can be Haitian and living in America, but they're African American. And I just feel like it puts you in a box that you're not really in. Like, white comes in not all shades, but all races too. Like, you have French, you have Polish, you have Russian. So I prefer just Black because, it doesn't tie me to like one specific thing. And yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I prefer brown. My daddy's Black. I'm brown.
Oh my god.
There's a difference. But yeah, like...
We're pale.
I don't call myself African American. I don't call myself African American because I'm not African. Like, I could have, like, African in me, but I'm not African. I don't practice African culture. Yeah. So it's like... I'm not going to take that away from them. Yeah. Like, that's just not... Yeah. I just feel like I'm not African.
Yeah. And I also think, like, what you said about culture, we don't practice American culture either. Like, Southern culture has its own culture. Yeah. Oh, it's Southern America. Southern. But, like, they have their own... Louisiana has its own culture. Alabama has its own culture. Yeah. Texas. And even, like, the New York area, like, Dominicans, Cubans, like, Haitians, like, Ethiopians... and it's black, but it's, you know, I do feel like when people talk about American culture, like if you were to ask anybody in Europe, they don't think about those subcultures that are like their own, that has nothing to do with American. I think they think of just like mac and cheese, burgers, and hot dogs and flags.
Sometimes they'll give you the yeehaw.
Yeah, that's all they think about, and that's, you know, that's what I see as American culture, because I know that's how the world sees it. But when you talk about my culture, or Texas, or Louisiana, Alabama, or Georgia, the places I've been,
exactly,
they're not the same. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. What do y'all all, this is for everyone, not just the men, what do y'all think about the term happy wife, happy life?
100%.
Really?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's not clickbait. It's not a trap.
No, I agree with it, because at the end of the day, if she's not happy, then it's me trying to make her happy, do something, do whatever she needs me to do to make her happy. And if she's happy, then I'm happy. And it's more so about my wife's specific needs and wants and stuff like that than society's. Because society can go fuck itself.
Okay. Snaps.
What about you?
It's not like you got a choice, girl.
I wholeheartedly believe in a
You better
happy
answer
wife.
correctly.
Yeah, so anyways, well, actually, I believe in it. I do believe in making you happy is just a better way of life for me. And I think it reverts back to what I was saying earlier, right? Men don't need a lot of appreciation, right? We don't need a lot from you guys, but we will always do a lot for you guys because that's just what we want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have, like, 99% of my goals have her in it. So it's like, why would I not want to make the person who is doing all this stuff with me happy? Because it makes me feel good. Like, cool, I was able to do that for her.
Aww.
I got her some nice stuff. I'm a good guy.
And
like,
she said,
you know,
thank you.
and she
that's
said,
all the
yeah,
appreciation
that's all I
needed.
needed. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is already taking my last name. She's already eventually
Taken.
We're married, but
Yeah.
haven't done the last name switch. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways.
Taking your money and your last name.
Yeah.
Your child.
She is, going to give birth to my child.
To your child.
To my child.
Okay.
Yeah.
It takes two.
It takes two to tango, tiger. You know what I'm saying? Like, she brought me into her family. Like, there's a lot of things that it's the least I can do is just be a good person and make sure she's happy. So it's, small things like that. It doesn't take very much for men, like, to be good people and to be good for your significant other. Like, so that's why I'm a big believer, like, happy wife, happy life, because honestly, there is no life unless you have a wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are with somebody, like, you're happy, you want them to be happy.
Not even made me cry.
I love men that think like that, so I'm happy I asked that. But I still
I'm getting all tongue twisted.
I'm like, oh my god, I'm tearing up over here.
I have a little different perspective. I want to hear you guys' answers first. Happy wife, happy life. What do y'all think about that? I think it's true.
I think it just shows how different the minds are between females and males. Because, like, to me, I'm like, why don't you want more? Like I want to do more for you because I want more. Yeah. You know, like we talked about earlier.
But you are more to us.
Exactly.
I know, but like,
you're the cup. We're just
not enough for me.
I love that.
Everything. Yeah.
I just feel like you deserve more.
Men like this
than what you ask. Yeah, you deserve more than what you're asking for. It's how I feel.
But it gets to a point to where we don't see more. Like there is no more. Like when you guys are happy, like when we got things figured out and happy, like that's better than money. That's better than anything. Like it's better than having this huge, extravagant life of all this shit. Like when you got everything how it should be, and the people in your life are all happy and content. Like that's better than anything. It's a blessed feeling. Like that's our nirvana. Like that's as good hardworking men who don't have much. Like that's everything we want. Like especially if you come from a hard upbringing. Like that's all we could ask for.
I think just in my mind, I'm just so extra. So I expect everybody else to be extra.
That's what I love about you.
Like even how Rick was saying, like. He just needs like 10 minutes to decompress.
That's it.
I need a spa day.
Exactly.
Yeah, she needs 10 minutes to decompress. Small trip to Bali.
Small trip to Malta. Like,
yeah.
something.
And there's nothing wrong with that. because that's you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
But that's my job is to see that
Mm-hmm.
and understand you.
Yeah.
You know, the communication is a
Yes.
big part of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
If
not
you
gonna
do
try and
need
guess.
that time, absolutely let them know. Be like,
I
hey,
do need that time. Yes.
Okay, go
I
take
do-
30 minutes.
I do need that.
Yeah.
She trying to go
Yeah,
to
you're
Malta.
lucky.
You got a baby
Yeah.
to pop.
Your lunch break starts now. All right.
What about you, Ada?
For me, I just think it's like if I'm happy, it just makes me want to cater to my person in that aspect, and it does come along with the fact of like you may not necessarily need those things, but also another communication piece. It really just goes to say that if me and my partner have that communication to where I know, okay, this is what's going to make you happy, and these are the things that makes me happy. It's just a well-rounded
Yeah.
thing
Mm-hmm.
overall, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, builds a good community, like home.
Yeah,
life.
Definitely.
it's just that foundation, really.
Mm-hmm. Builds a good foundation. Yeah. I agree. I like that.
Yeah.
Good response.
I think when you kept saying this is our house, the way I see it, like I've heard the term happy wife, happy life, and I do agree. I think it makes y'all's life easier when we're not stressed out because then y'all are stressed out. So I get it from that standpoint. But I like the term happy spouse, happy house. I like that because I do think, again, even I'm pro womanist, feminist, all that stuff. Womanist mainly, not feminist. But I think like we forget again that men are human beings and they have feelings too. Like
Since
if
when?
and like if you guys are always working and like, you know, giving your all and like, you know, just giving in and day out, and there's no output or return of investment or anything that's making you happy, I do believe that can deteriorate the environment in the home. Like if your cup is not being filled emotionally, like if you're doing all these things, whether it's like intimacy or having fun with your friends or having some time to yourself, like I do feel like even if we don't see it, it does affect the feng shui of the house. So I think happiness goes both ways, and I see a lot of men, good men like you guys, pouring into their wives, and then like they end up kind of depleted or burnt out, and by the time it's realized, it's kind of like too late, you know. And so I just hate seeing like families fall apart and like, oh, what happened? He was such a great guy, you guys were so great, because like he suppressed all these emotions and feelings just to make her happy, you know, or make the family happy. So I like the term happy spouse, happy house.
No, I agree.
I like that.
I'm gonna adopt that.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, speaking of like the patriarchy, right? So I feel like some women like ride that patriarchy idea of the sense of like, you're supposed to take care of me. Like this is what you're supposed to do. So they just beat these men to the ground.
Yeah.
So like you said, right? They just constantly, no, you're supposed to treat me good. You're supposed to make me happy. Like this is how this works, right? It's how this relationship works. Like, and then with no output, no appreciation going the other way. So where then like men go like, why am I even putting up with this? Like, why am I doing all this? I know we have kids together. I know we have this life, but do I have to spend the rest of my life being like this? Like, that's not what I want. So I mean, I can see where you're 100% correct with that.
Yeah.
So definitely happy spouse, happy house. I like that.
Yeah. We good, Jazz?
Yeah.
How was that stairs?
Yeah, stairs and pregnant aren't a good combination.
No, definitely not. I thought Gunnar was gonna poop. I swear, in his cage.
Oh, he outside now?
Yeah.
Okay. You got more, Ada?
You gotta dig his way back in.
No more questions?
No, I think that was all the ones that I had.
Oh.
Do y'all have any more?
I got it.
He got a lot,
I got a
girl.
bunch, yeah, but
Oh, I do have one. Do you guys know the difference between feminist and womanist?
I'm gonna say no for the sake of me not looking like a dipshit.
I'm gonna go ahead and look like a dipshit.
Go ahead.
And say that. Oh fuck! Hold on. Let me think. I think a feminist is
So
I'm gonna say
feminine
that-
ideology.
yeah, they're fighting against the patriarchy. They want maybe not necessarily equal rights, but that equity to bring them up to the level. Because if everything is equal, and one gender is not as you're seen as not important as another, that equity helps raise them to that level of importance. And then I think a womanist is an individual who is fighting for, I don't know, women's rights, trying to bring up that sisterhood like you talked about.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
You're not completely right, but you're not completely wrong.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, you did good. High five. What about you two? Y'all
I
know?
have no idea. Based off like what it sounds like, womanist. Are they putting women above everybody else? Like, is it like
Not exactly.
women are the highest?
So I'm gonna go with Rick on this in the sense of saying I think feminist is more like the fight against the patriarchy, right? They're trying to say like feminine power is equal if not better. But I think womanist is just pro women, like
That's what,
the
yeah, I was
benefit
trying to say,
and the greater good of all women together.
Kind of right. What about you, Ada? You want to go on a limb?
I'm gonna let y'all have that one.
So I actually learned this a few years ago because at the time, I considered myself like pro-feminist. Like once I learned all the stuff that was going on, like before I was even born. But feminists, at the time when the movement started, all women were participating in it. But the only women that were reaping the benefits of it were upper class white women. So the term, and they were fighting against patriarchy. Womanists, they do fight against patriarchy, but it's not as like strong. It's more like kind of what you guys said for all women, and it was more inclusive to all women, not just upper class white women, of all social classes, of all races, because we would have these situations where they were fighting for things, and the systems were not changing for Asian, Latino, Black women. We were still having the same oppression, or not even if they were white, the lower class white people, what they considered, like they would turn their back. Like I even saw in some things, like some of the upper class white women, like in press conferences, be like, "Oh, that's trailer trash. That's not my problem." But they're the same race, but they look down on them. And now because they have privileges to work and have a joint bank account with their husband and buy things and have a credit line, like they didn't care that all the women that helped them get there, like weren't getting the same benefits as them. So, womanist, I think it was coined by Alice Walker, who was part of The Color Purple. I think she made it. I don't know, something like that. But it's for the fight of all women, and it's for equity in all social classes, all races. I don't want to necessarily put sexuality in there because I don't think they cared about that at that time. But yeah, and making it a place for all women. And also they were big on being a part of the family. Like they realized that there was a big divide with feminists. Like they were fighting to like be independent. And womanists were like, we still want to be there for our families. We don't want to necessarily like have to be kicked out the house. We want to be able to work at home and work in the workforce, not this or that, you know? So yeah, now I coin myself more of a womanist. Yeah. Because that did not benefit me.
Okay.
How can Rob and I, as white males, promote that equity for women?
What do you mean?
Like, so you're saying, as a womanist, you are fighting for the rights of all women. How can we help you in that fight? What can we do as males to help?
I think Rob kind of already is being married to a Black woman. Like it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. I mean, there are interracial couples that live in this sheltered lens, but it's kind of hard to be married to someone of the opposite race and not care about those things and not like be like, you could not be oblivious to the things and challenges that she faces, like you know. So I think that's a way to help, but also like just being aware, like, and sometimes it's not your fault you're not aware of it, but like if you're in your work center and you see that, you know, maybe Sally got something that Janiqua didn't get or you know, pay attention to like, okay, that was different, like they treat that person different. And it shows up in workplaces too, like Ada could bring something to the attention, even though she's security forces, they're probably gonna still see her as a bitch because that's the thing apparently. But let's say Jasmine brought something up, now she's this aggressive, malicious Black woman, but they brought the same issue up, you know, and one of them got a different response and treatment than the other person. So I think that's the way you guys can help, just being aware of that. When I'm around my male counterparts that are not my race, that are white or Hispanic, and like they realize their privilege in certain places, like I don't know why, but especially over here, like I really have to pee out to go. They're like, you can't go to the bathroom here. But they'll walk in and they're like, oh yeah, it's right down there. Like, I'm like, that's crazy. But it's like a private bathroom. So like most of the time they'll speak up on those things or they'll know what's going to happen and they'll just go do it for me. So like, I think those are ways that you guys can like show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, definitely be aware and call it out when you see it. But also, you don't have to be the spokesperson. You know, I think we've talked about this before, Rob. like, you don't have to lead the fight. Let us lead it. Like, like, listen to us.
Just bring attention to
yeah,
it.
And
exactly.
And that's the point that I was going to bring, is that where your comment is very, very true, Rick, saying that, like, how are we supposed to help in this situation, right? Being white males.
Because we want to.
But it feels like,
We just don't want to step
Yeah.
on toes.
Yeah.
then that's the thing, is that we feel like when we bring it up, a lot of times we're like, fuck it, we're gonna make sure everybody knows this shit, and we'll like take charge. And
Sometimes that makes it worse.
Yeah, but that makes it worse. So it's like, it's hard for us as men to be able to find that balance of like, we're like, hey, I'm gonna bring this up to your attention, but okay.
Really?
Yeah. That guy is so cool. That got me off topic.
Yeah,
because I
you
want
lost
to
your
make fun of
train of
that. Just come on, words.
Bring it to attention.
Yeah,
make it get worse than what it
Yeah,
is.
like, I just don't want to
Yeah.
take your power away from you. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard because, like, I want to defend you. I want, especially if, in this case, we're married, right?
Yeah.
And in a situation like that, I'm gonna be like, yo, man, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, she can use
You've
that
done it
just like
before.
me.
You've
Yeah,
done it many times.
done
Yeah.
it before. But it's like, should I have just said something and then left it then that you fight the battle? Like, but as a man, I have a hard time doing that, especially as a man that's protecting the person I'm with.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard for men to necessarily just step aside and just bring it to attention.
Yeah.
Like, we want to defend you, but
We
we
want to
also
fix it.
look like that's also the problem, because we're trying to fix it, and
Yeah.
it's not really our fight.
I mean, like what Jazz said, you can definitely let her lead, and like when you see that it's not being handled how it should be, like they're giving her pushback, like that's when you have the power to step in and be like, okay, now I'm solidifying this shit. Like, I gave y'all a chance to hear her out and her fight for herself, and you're not listening, and call them out on it. As far as like professionally, I find that it's better whenever you just pull them aside, like, hey, like actually taking the initiative, not waiting for something on the news to pop off, because I felt like, especially with like the George Floyd and Trayvon Martin, like it's like people waited for something like that to happen to pull me aside and be like, oh, how are you doing with everything? Like, this should be an everyday conversation. Like, we both are aware that I'm different in this work environment. Like, so like pulling them aside and being like, hey, I just want to know, like, obviously you don't have the same experience as you, but like, how has it been since you've been in the squadron? Things going well? You get any pushback, any sexism, any racism, anybody to keep my eye on? And then some people, I know some of my troops are like, yeah, make an example, say it at the next all call. And some people are like, don't do that. They gonna know it's me. You're gonna embarrass me. I don't want to have the attention on me and be ostracized. So like,
Especially when you do it in large public forums like that, it usually just diluted your point and it ruins it.
Yeah.
Because that higher figure is not going to sit there and argue, not necessarily argue, but like,
They're
give
going to
points
give the
of
best
fixing.
Air Force answer.
They're going to give you the Air Force answer.
Yeah.
Like, we'll
This
talk
won't
to
be
your
tolerated.
supervision. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not tolerated by the United States Air Force, and we'll make sure your supervision is knowledgeable of this. And it could be your supervision, the ones that are doing it. And that's the point, is that like, public forums like that are literally, honestly, the worst place to do it. And I feel like a lot of this younger generation wants to make a scene, but doesn't want to deal with the aftermath of making a scene.
Yeah.
I think it's important to be aware that all black people don't feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we may feel like this, but other black people might not want you to get involved at all.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's okay. They feel how they feel, but do what you think is right,
True.
I noticed that some, I'm not going to say like black people and women that are oppressed, like they say they don't want any help, but I think sometimes they're testing other people to see like, will they really help even though I said I didn't want it? Like, are they going to stand up and do what's right? Because it's like, why should I have to tell you what to do is right,
Yeah. Definitely.
Not me, but I'm saying I think some people do test white men and they test leadership to see like if they really have their back or not.
I understand, believe that. They'll test the waters to see.
Yeah.
To see, they'll put you in situations where you have to give a point of view.
Yeah, bait you.
I mean, that even goes for, like, not even from, like, a male standpoint. Just, like, if you find yourself being a woman and still trying to fight that fight and you have, like, other races involved, something may happen and that other woman may look to you to be like, well, is she going to say anything? Because I've had it happen where, we were in a situation where literally it was just a whole bunch of women in a group setting. Something happened. We had a male, like, leadership figure. He came in and he was, upset about something, went to go preach it, this, that, and the third. And me being the only white female in the group, you know, I stood up and I said something and I addressed this male counterpart and was like, hey, yo, no, like, that's not what happened. Like, that's not what this is. Like, and I stood up for that in that, like, situation. And after that, literally, as soon as he left the room, those other females that were in the room was like, well, at least we know you're not going to fold now. Like, that's literally what they said after the fact.
That's
And
so sad, though.
And it's like, you know, it sucks that it had to come down to that. But it's like, I mean, not even, like I said, not even from a male standpoint. Like, are other women fighting for other women, regardless of what that race what they look like, whatever, what background they come from? Because, yes, I may be a white woman, but people don't know where I grew up. People don't know where I came from. Like, just a little tidbit, like, but I grew up predominantly around Black and Mexicans. So that culture is something that I was brought up into and I have a lot of knowledge in. And, you know, the first thing is, oh, I didn't know you knew that, all because I was white. Well, you weren't gonna know unless you asked me that question. And when they see me fighting for other things, like in those situations, it comes as a shock. But it's like, it shouldn't be that way. I think people are used to bystanders, or like you said, regardless of like race, some people do benefit from things that don't affect them. So, or it don't affect them, so they have nothing to say or stand on. But it is nice that you were able to do that. It's like that you had to prove yourself in that way, but it sounds like they saw that you were capable of doing that. And I mean, it just really just goes to show, like, it's not even from a gender aspect, but from also just, you know, everything as a whole, really. You know, whether it be women or men, you know, race against race, like, it doesn't really matter. You stand up for what's right at the end of the day.
Hell yeah.
I like that. Power to the people.
I think now there's just a lot of, feel like the racism has been, like, flipped now.
Definitely.
Which is not okay. Like, there shouldn't be racism, period. You know, like I feel like there's a lot of hatred towards white men, but then there's a lot of, like, they make it seem like it's bad to be a white woman, if that makes sense. Like,
they definitely do.
I don't know how to
I think it's just because of,
like,
I know what you're trying to say. I think it's just because of, like, what they display on social media of the white women. It's usually it's not positive.
Like, trying to make them
like
feel bad
the
for
victim,
being white. Like,
the privileged tears. Like, you hear all these terms towards, and unfortunately there are some white women that do that. Like, they be trolling on social media. Like, they know what they're doing and they don't care that they're using our privilege. But we have to remember that all of them are not like that. But like you said, it is flipped. I feel like now you could pull the black card any day. It's because I'm black.
Exactly.
Yeah. Same thing with sexuality and gender. Like, is it because I'm a woman? Right. Is it because I'm gay? Like, and we're at a point in, like, society and life right now where, like, it's so easy to pull that card and everyone's just like, oh, I don't want to get in trouble. Let me not. Okay. Yeah. You're not going to call me a racist. You're not going to call me sexist or a homophobe.
Have you experienced, like, being a white woman, like, having people say something about that? Like, about you being white?
It's mainly because, like, I have been in, like, interracial relationships, and a lot of the times you'll find where that's where most of the comments come from, like, oh, like, she's white, or that white girl, or, you know, things like that. Yeah. So, it's nothing new to me, and it's kind of sad that it's that way, but it doesn't take an effect on me as much. Just because, like I said, it's nothing new.
I'm glad it, like, doesn't take effect, but it's bad that that's how it is. You know?
Very good points. I like what y'all shared.
We had a lot of fun today.
I did. Thank you guys for this.
Like, honestly, I feel like we didn't even say anything. We just left the mic on and just talked.
Y'all led the whole thing.
No, I felt like me and Rick learned a lot, and we'd like to do this again. So what I was going to say earlier is that this is not like a one-time thing. We plan on doing like panels like this all the time.
Next time at her house, ASMR with
Mhm.
crab legs.
Yeah,
crab
The
legs.
dip. I need that seafood
Yeah.
dip again.
So
Her house is so good.
like we just want to keep doing things like this because we like to hear people's thoughts. We like when you bring in more people. Like we want more people to come into this.
Yeah.
Or if you want another person to join you, if somebody has a great story or something like that, an antidote that they want to share. And we love that stuff. Like we're all about it. Like we want to keep people included and knowledgeable on like our normal society of us. Like so we're big on that. So we just want you to know that there's gonna be more of this.
Yeah.
So you guys are always welcome to come back. And yeah.
It'll probably be filmed next time.
Yeah, it's
though.
probably
Oh,
gonna be
so
filmed
now I
next
need to
time.
get done up.
Uh-oh.
Get done up. I should have brought another man. That would
We
have
can
made
have the
it.
baby.
Aw,
Yeah.
she'll be asleep the entire time. Yeah, I appreciate this. Thank you guys for including us and like doing something for Women's History
This
Month.
is really fun.
It was, and you was you thought you was not
Yeah.
gonna do good.
So skeptical.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a lot to say.
I bet you can't wait to hear it back.
Yeah.
I'm not listening.
I don't like hearing my voice.
I don't like hearing. Yeah.
Same. I don't like
That's-
hearing my voice.
I can't listen to
I've
this
done
one.
a lot of audio recording, and I'm the exact same way.
I hate hearing my voice.
I make raps.
Really?
Yeah,
Spit
just
for
saying.
us.
Not right now.
He said
I'll
next
play,
episode.
I'll play it one after. But just hearing it back, I'm like, oh god, I'm so
Yeah.
nasally.
Yeah, it's from the Midwest.
Yeah.
We both nasally. Like
Yeah.
it's just Midwest people. So.
I just know I sound country.
Same.
I just like
Like,
how
I
Oh,
you
you do.
voice.
Okay.
You do sound country. That's okay.
Nothing
It's
wrong with
okay.
that though. That's great. It gives you character.
Thanks.
I just realized that we're all the women in here are all from the South, and y'all are all from.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Up over there across the land, ice bridge. That's where we live.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, but please spread the word of this. Tell people to listen because like we like comments, we like feedback, we like to hear that you guys are being heard.
Yeah.
Because it's a shame to do all this and then nobody listens.
Yeah. Do you guys have an Instagram or?
Yeah, we have an IG.
Look
we
at
have
that.
not Facebook,
Twitter.
but Twitter, YouTube,
TikTok.
TikTok.
TikTok and Instagram's where it's at.
Yeah, we haven't done a lot with our social medias though. We're busy.
trying. We're trying.
That's how people hear about it.
I know.
We're trying the best we can.
Okay.
Jeez.
YouTube.
We put up flyers. Like,
Flyers.
He's just like, let's get this going. Let's
As soon as
go.
it come out, I'll put it on my story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. You can catch
Okay.
all the shows there. Amazon Music as well.
Oh wow, that's
Heck
cool.
yeah.
yeah, just.
Well, thank you all for coming
Yeah,
on.
Thank you
appreciate you
Thanks for
guys.
having us. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
getting
see you
sleepy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Any
You gonna
shout
take a
outs
nap?
you want to give to
Yeah, is
anybody?
anybody you'd like to
Shout out to Gunner.
Yeah, for the howling in the background.
Yeah.
for barking continuously
Yeah.
for 2 hours. Good
Yeah.
job, buddy.
Mm.
I do have one for a buddy of mine, Miguel. He got just picked up to be on the West Texas SWAT team. So
Oh.
congratulations to him. I'm proud of him because
Yeah.
back in the day, just a couple of goofball senior airmen. So it's good to see that he's doing real well. Proud of him.
That's great.
I love that.
Don't give me ideas.
Mm.
West Texas SWAT.
Mm.
Shout out to my baby.
Yeah,
That would be
Lilani.
A week and a half. And she will be here.
Yay.
Yeah.
Have fun with your baby.
Birth.
Mm-hmm.
That's our
Labor.
baby.
You got it.
Any other shout outs?
Probably shout out to Asia over here for bringing me along.
You're welcome, girl. Yeah, I knew you would be the right girl for this. Yeah. I don't really have a shout out, but it's Women's History Month. Let's see. I really love Kerry Washington. So shout out to Kerry Washington. I just love how she carries herself as a woman, as a wife, as an actor profession. She's just truly herself. Yeah, every role she plays.
Shout out to my mom,
What's her name?
Teresa.
Teresa. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for always calling us continuously.
All
Love you, Ma.
right.
But yeah, thank you everybody for coming.
Alright.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to Rick and Rob Show.
Let's all say bye.
Bye.
Bye.